started?
Yeah.
First of all, I want to thank everybody for putting their name in for the election, and congratulations on winning. It'd be great to work with all of you here. Our first duty here is to do the oath of office for the councillors, so we'll have a piece of paper here that you can read off and then sign, swearing on the Bible that you will fulfill the duties and responsibilities of a councillor. So we'll just go this way around and as we go there. So you just hold that in your right hand, and I'll give you that paper to.
I, Lloyd Kearl, that I will diligently, faithfully, and to the best of my ability execute according to the law the office of councillor for the Cardston County, so help me God.
Thank you. So Lacey.
I, Fred Lacey, that I will diligently, faithfully, and to the best of my ability execute according to law the office of councillor for the Cardston County, so help me God.
I, Michael Luce, that I will diligently, faithfully, and to the best of my ability execute according to the law the office of councillor for the Cardston County, so help me God.
I, Broyce Jacobs, that I will diligently, faithfully, and to the best of my ability execute according to law the office of councillor for the Cardston County, so help me God.
I, Roger Houghton, that I will diligently, faithfully, and to the best of my ability execute according to law the office of councillor for the Cardston County, so help me God.
I, Martin James Bester, that say that I will diligently, faithfully, and to the best of my ability execute according to the law the office of councillor for the Cardston County, so help me God.
Point of order. Every oath must require a positive affirmation or the swearing of something. The form that I have here is not an oath. It should say, I, Duncan Thompson, swear, or alternatively, I, Duncan Thompson, do solemnly declare. So I suggest that we need to amend this form to include the most important and operative word associated with an oath, namely the swearing. And I'm going to do that on mine. I, Duncan Thompson, do solemnly swear that I will, I, Duncan Thompson, do solemnly swear that I will diligently, faithfully, and to the best of my ability execute according to law the office of councillor for the Cardston County, so help me God.
Yeah, I was wondering about that when we did this. Should we be going around again then, Duncan?
Yes, because it's not an oath unless you've got those words, swear, or do solemnly swear, or do solemnly declare.
Should we just go get it reprinted off then with those in there?
That would be best.
Preferable.
comfortable with it either. You guys are only half lit over there?
Beg your pardon?
Yeah. In the dark over here.
You're just a little dimmed.
Get my snow property there, Roger.
About 6 years, probably.
Most guys out there sold their cows yet, or still living?
No, still, I don't think anybody's sold yet.
Oh, haven't.
You guys are getting close, or we're planning on this.
Yeah, probably, yeah. Usually.
Fred Lacey, sorry.
That's right.
How you doing there, Tiger?
Anybody here with the price dropped off after last
I didn't say
presentation?
hi.
What was the announcement?
Oh, Tyson wasn't taking any Canadian cattle.
Oh, I didn't hear that.
He's the public works superintendent for the
They're
Indian
gonna
Picture.
drop about 7.
Was that a question?
They have. Did that happen on Saturday?
Maybe it's
Well, I don't know, Martin was saying that they
Just
were
took
going
Division
to.
4 to be okay.
Well, I heard they dropped about a dime before that.
Is Tyson, is that the American arm of Tyson?
Yeah. And.
Is that because of cool?
Yeah.
Yeah, they can't afford to have all these packages.
I don't know why they haven't, I mean, I'm sure, why one of the plants haven't decided to kill only Canadian. And they
That
got
was
one
all.
package,
Yeah.
no,
No, they've still got to have several packages for each country.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, they got to have probably 20 labels for that.
So did you say the market dropped after that announcement? or- 10 cents?
well, I heard 10 cents before.
Yeah, I heard.
From that high of $1.70 or whatever. I mean, and this is all just,
We sold our cows on Thursday. I didn't see any weakness in the market on Thursday. I think those 6 weight cows are still like 67, like 66, somewhere around there. 5 weight cows are close to 180.
yeah,
So
sound, I think the week before they had hit $1.70 something.
for the 6 weeks.
6 weeks. And I heard $1.77, so that $1.68, 10 cents off. And then 2 bits for spread for heifers. That's a pretty good size. Is that what, how big a spread is on the heifers?
Yeah, well, that was a good spread on that. But there was even before. So.
Yeah, but-
They were pretty even.
Pardon?
They were pretty even.
Okay, so we had to just, put Lacey swear. We didn't put solemn, just would swear. That's all right?
Yeah.
All right, let's try that again.
Still wrong.
What's wrong? Hold on. What's wrong?
Sorry.
She got, fix that one up again. Hold on, that's all right.
Oh, maybe on calves, on
The yearlies were close.
yearlings, they
Yeah.
weren't right.
So what's the good news?
Well, the sun came up in the east today. It's always good news.
It's true. Everybody healthy here at your household?
So you get out your council.
Yeah, we got it going. Yeah, we got it sold. We were supposed to be moving the last one on Sunday, and then that forecast fell out from Carol's there. And so we switched around and managed to get a truck to Friday and short out because of Friday, but we got it one thing.
Where are you trucking from?
I had 2 buns out from Duncan there, most of them.
Oh,
That place that Carol Mayhew's, they can't back up to the chute if somebody spits on the grass, because it's grassy and uphill. And so you don't want to have any kind of moisture or anything. And then, so that's, I didn't know if that forecast would come about, but it sure as heck did.
I think forecasts are getting better now
Well.
than 10 years ago.
Way better.
They hit it some of the times.
Yeah.
Is the weather pretty warm at the coast?
Yeah, those Sundays are helpless.
It's really,
Well, this is just in the past
Overcast
month's
most
gonna be
times.
every day like
Oh,
those cars
yeah.
over by the time you get turned around and coming
It's
back.
like,
So do you
I've
miss
seen
the
them have a
area?
lot of trouble even on the green grass, not even anywhere.
It's a great area. And that was a good area to enjoy ourselves.
6 inches of snow.
Years there, that's when it comes to water.
What would I do, Mrs. Mills, and push back right here down.
Okay.
Christmas Day, get up and go, we had a park right nearby, but long as beautifully maintained trails.
Well, we're kind of glad ours are running.
That's always nice before.
So I don't do it.
In our country, it's really tough to get
Smart
runners in
smart
there.
enough to do it more right.
You know,
Anyway,
they don't move as well in 50 inches, so.
Yeah.
no, we get lots of sunshine here. Pretty moist
Where do you
area.
sell that?
4 o'clock, Southern Alberta Livestock Exchange. Where do you sell?
The last few years I've sold privately.
Oh, that's the way to go if you can do it.
Yeah, it seems like it's been good.
Next year, we're gonna try to video our cows.
Try what?
We're gonna try to video our
Oh,
cows
yeah.
next year. We're tired of giving them 8% shrink. If we loaded our calves, we started cutting our calves at noon on Wednesday, and they didn't sell till 2 o'clock on Thursday, so we're taking a 26-hour stand on those calves.
That's the nice thing about private.
Yeah.
Got them out, put them on the liner and they're across the scale in 2 hours.
And I went to the video sale at Highway this year. They had 40,000 cows in early October. And most of those cows sold 3% shrink weighed on the truck at the nearest scale.
Yeah,
So some of them were weighing at a Houghton pony, for example, 10 miles down the road.
yeah.
So they put them on the truck, weigh them on the, don't even take them off the
No,
truck.
way more.
So they're getting a good weighing condition at 3%. I'm sure we get at least a 7% shrink, maybe 8 on those cows. So on a 600-pound cow, that's 50 pounds, at about 50 a pound, it's $75.
$5. And then your commission and,
Well, some of them, it's like, doesn't charge commission.
Yeah, I
Make
heard
the
that.
buyers pay it.
yeah.
I don't know whether I pay. I'm sure I pay.
Apologize for that.
Pay it, it's the buyers and
That's right, Mike.
Let's do it with the words in there then.
makes the guy feel better.
I, Lloyd Kearl, swear that I will diligently, faithfully, to the best of my ability, execute according to law the office of counselor for the Cardston County, so help me God.
I, Fred Lacey, swear that I will diligently, faithfully, and to the best of my ability, execute according to law the office of counselor for the Cardston County, so help me God.
I, Michael Luce, swear that I will diligently, faithfully, and to the best of my ability execute according to law the office of counselor for the town of Cardston County, so help me God.
I, Broyce Jacob, swear that I will diligently, faithfully, and to the best of my ability, execute according to law the office of counselor for the Cardston County, so help me God.
I, Roger Houghton, swear that I will diligently, faithfully, and to the best of my ability execute according to law the office of councillor for the Cardston County, so help me God.
I, Martin James Bester, swear that I will diligently, faithfully, and to the best of my ability execute according to the law the office of councillor for the Cardston County, so help me God.
You said swear, so do it again.
I, Duncan Thompson, swear that I will diligently, faithfully, and to the best of my ability execute according to law the office of councillor for the Cardston County, so help me God.
Okay, thank you. Now we'll do the election of the Reeve. In the past, we've had the piece of paper in front of you. Please write down who you'd like to nominate as a Reeve, and then we'll go from there.
We could count that, eh?
I wonder if they're sweating that.
Okay, so as we go through the names, we'll ask if you're willing to serve as the Reeve. Lloyd Kearl, are you willing to serve?
Sure.
Broyce Jacobs.
Yes.
Fred Lacey.
Yes.
Are you willing to serve? Okay, so we have three candidates running for Reeve then. So we'll go out and write your who you'd like to see as Reeve. If we have a tie, then well, I guess how it goes. Since there's three possibilities, different possibilities that could happen. The guy with the highest votes will win. If there's a tie at the top end, the lowest individual will drop out and we'll revote for the highest end. Everybody's all right with that?
Mr. Administrator, I'm just a little concerned if this is an election and there's three candidates running, do we not get to hear from the candidates or those who put their names forward as the reasons why they should occupy the position? Are you suggesting we just go out right now and vote?
Yes, that's what we've done in the past. We've always just went in the past.
I would suggest that that's not a proper way to do it, where especially there's new councillors around this table. And if somebody's willing to let their name stand, I believe they need to have the privilege of addressing all of us so that we can make an informed choice as opposed to a stab in the dark.
Well, usually what happens is councils in the past have done it this way. If the 7 board members want to, or councillors would like to do that, that's up to them. Do we want to have a motion on giving a speech?
I'll make the motion
Okay.
that at least everybody who is got their name forward have an opportunity to speak, and I don't see why we as sworn-in councillors now don't have the opportunity to express our views in regard to those potential candidates. That's what I would say is fundamentally appropriate for an election of the chief elected officer in Cardston County.
Okay, so there's a motion. Sorry, go.
I think I read someplace in some documentation that is an acceptable way to do it. It's a standard in the, I don't know if it was in the act or someplace else, that people have a chance to say something anyways.
Yeah, and I said in the past, we haven't done it that way. All those that agree with having the councillors that are nominated for Reeve to give the reasons why they think they can be there, can indicate so. Okay. If that's the case, then we'll start with the order in which we pulled the names out. So Lloyd, Broyce, and then Fred.
Okay, I wasn't prepared for this because we haven't done it in the past. If I'd known we'd done it, I'd have my speech all organized and this look real pretty here, but, okay. Just give we got 20 minutes or a half hour?
Well, it should be limited to 5 minutes.
Anyway, I just want to say I appreciate being here, appreciate associating with you good people. Marie made this statement a few weeks ago, whatever council we get is going to be the best council ever. And I thought it was a pretty positive statement. I think if we work together on a united basis, it will be a great council. We'll be able to get a lot of things accomplished. I think we've got good relationships with Maggie Cronin, I've known for 20 years, Russ Burnett, and we've had some good working with him, working out that deal with the IMDP. Basically, we got an IMDP and everybody agreed with it, which is pretty lucky. We started off with 500 people upset, and we got down to nothing, and we got the Water Commission, which it's really changed in the last 10 years. Water is critical here now, and so we were able to do that. When it comes to the provincial government, we've got some good relationships there. It's critical, I think, from a provincial government point of view, that we not be perceived as being for the opposition party. It just puts us in a very, very difficult position getting any benefit there. Anyways, a privilege being here. It's a privilege associating with you all. And however you vote, I'll support you, and I really like you all. Thank you.
Mr. Jacob, Councilor Jacob.
Gentlemen, with your permission, I'd like to stand up. I always think better on my feet, and like Lloyd, I haven't got a prepared speech. First of all, I'd like to say that when I left this council table in 2001, after becoming the MLA, I actually thought I would never be back here. And I'm a little surprised to find that I am back. But I will also say this, that I think this level of government has more impact on people's lives than any other level of government. So it's an honor for me to serve here. I'm grateful for the people who gave me this opportunity. And I look forward to working with each of you as councillors. And I trust that we can work together to do good things for the people of Cardston County. I believe that the Reeve, this is what I would pledge to you as if you decide to select me as your Reeve. Either way, I will serve to the best of my ability. But if you do decide to elect me as the Reeve, I will first of all try to be fair. I believe it's really important to be fair and to deal with people honestly and openly. I don't expect that we would all agree on every issue. But I will try to respect every person's view and opinion and give it due consideration. So that would be my first observation, is that I will pledge to you to be fair and honest and direct with you in my dealings. I've had considerable experience in this as the Reeve. I actually served 17 years as the Reeve of this county, and was grateful for the opportunity to do so, and grateful for my colleagues who gave me that opportunity. I think that one of my greatest attributes for Cardston County as the Reeve would be my experience with dealing with people and dealing with you as councillors and dealing with the provincial government. Because of my experience as an MLA, I'm very well conversed with many of the people who are serving in the provincial government today. Most of the ministers I call by first name. And as we go to conventions and need to stand up and express the views of Cardston County and lobby for, in the interest of Cardston County, I think I would definitely bring something to the table in that regard. When I was on council before, I made it a practice to stand at conventions and speak and address ministers. So I think that would be another issue or another attribute I would bring to the table. So Gentlemen, I would ask for your support today, and if I receive it, I pledge to you to serve you fairly and honestly and work together to enhance the image of Cardston County and do the things we need to do to make this county a really good place to live. Thank you.
I'm a little bit like Lloyd, a little unprepared on this, but I would certainly thank the opportunity of being able to address you and share some of the points of interest that I see that are important, and having the opportunity of representing the council as Reeve. I first off would like to thank Mr. Kearl for the efforts that he has put forth in the last 3 years. He's done an excellent job, in my opinion. I feel that in some regards we've let a little opportunity slip past us. I did make a commitment to the table last year at our organizational meeting when my name was mentioned that if given opportunity again that I would allow my name to stand. I feel that in the past that perhaps maybe we could have taken better advantage of some of the opportunities that came our way. I would hope that we could work in that regard to further move the county forward. I think there are a number of things that are important to recognize. I certainly respect the table. I recognize the talent that's around the table. We have an extreme opportunity at this time as I look around with the depth of experience and the abilities that everybody's brought to the table. I'm thankful that I have the support to be here and to work again with the Cardston County, and I will certainly fulfill that responsibility to the best of my understanding, and we'll work at it. I will admit that I don't know all there is to know about everything, but I'm willing to learn and put forth the effort. I believe I'm very well aware of the issues that face the county, and there are several. I feel that I have a good familiar background with the demographics of the county, and my business has given me opportunity to work throughout the county and learn to know the people and some of the history that's there, and where we've been and where we've come from, and hopefully where we're headed. And so I express an open opportunity and a desire to work with council and to try and accomplish those things that we are challenged with, and to positively move the county forward. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen. At this time, then, we will call for you to write your elections on the ballot, please. Be right back as I count them. Okay, thank you. The vote was Fred Lacey won that vote. So Fred Reeve. Now we'll do the same thing with the deputy Reeve. Put your name and who you'd like to see as the deputy Reeve.
Congratulations.
First name Broyce Jacobs, will you serve as Deputy Reeve if...
Yes, sure.
Lloyd Kearl, will you serve as Deputy Reeve?
Sure.
Duncan Thompson?
No.
No? Decline?
Decline.
Mike Luce?
Yeah.
Okay, so those are the names that have put forth at this time.
Repeat those.
We have Duncan Thompson declined, we have Lloyd Kearl, we have Mike Luce, we have Broyce Jacobs. So under the same thing, does everybody want to take a few minutes to talk about that role? If so, we'll do the same order that we got it. We pulled them out, Broyce, Lloyd, and then Mike.
Well, thank you for the opportunity to serve as, possibly to serve as Deputy Reeve. I'm not too familiar with what a Deputy Reeve does. I suppose basically assist the Reeve. So I think at this point all I would say is if I am chosen to be the Deputy Reeve, I would do my best to work with Fred, to support him, help him, and to work with council to enhance the agendas and to make sure that we offer good government to the people in this community. Thank you.
I don't know if I can say anything different from what you said. I agree with you that hey, I'm here to help out, and I really like Fred. I know he's dedicated, hardest working counselor, probably one of the hardest we've seen in years. Anything I can do to help out, if I'm so elected, I'll be glad to do that. Thank you.
I'll do the best I can. I believe that everything should be equal across to all ratepayers across the county. I'll do my best in supporting Fred and everyone around the table. Thank you.
Okay. You can put your name on the piece of paper. I'll be around with the... On that end, then, we would like to congratulate Lloyd Kearl as Deputy Reeve. And at this time, then, we'll give the Reeve the oath of the office and then the Deputy Reeve.
I, Fred Lacey, swear that I will diligently, faithfully, and to the best of my ability execute, according to law, the office of Reeve for the Cardston County, so help me God.
I, Lloyd Kearl, swear that I will diligently, faithfully, and to the best of my ability execute, according to law, the office of Deputy Reeve for the Cardston County, so help me God.
Okay, so then I turn the time over to the Reeve and Council as it's their meeting.
I'll move to destroy the ballots.
Yes, please, thank you.
Thank you for the privilege and opportunity to serve as Reeve at this time. I know that as I learn these responsibilities that I will make some mistakes and trust that with your cooperation that we will work through this and try and serve the best interest of the county at hand. I guess to proceed in regards to our agenda here,
7.
we have to vote on the motion to destroy the ballots.
You should, yes.
Okay. A motion on the floor to, by Councillor Roger Houghton to have the ballots destroyed for both Reeve and Deputy Reeve. Any discussion? All in favor? Carried. Okay, we're presently at 7.1 Municipal Planning Commission. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make that motion. I'll make that motion for the Reeve and 6 councillors to be on the Municipal Planning Commission.
Okay, a motion by Councillor Micheal Luce that Reeve and 6 councillors be appointed to the Municipal Planning Commission for the 2013-14 year. Any discussion? Councillor Johnson.
Mr. Chairman, I seem to recall that council has an option on this point. They can either put all the council on the MPC, or they can put some of council on the MPC, and then the other councillors would be on the appeal committee. Is that correct?
You can have either or, yes, you can have all the board members on and then have appeal committee separate, or you could have a portion of the council on the MPC and then appeal, and there'd be members at large on both committees.
Has this council, for the last 10 years, done it this way, Mr. Chairman?
We certainly have the last term, previous terms. I understand it's been that way. I don't know how deep or how long that has been, Roger. This is Roger's 4th term, so in your understanding, that's the way it's been for the last number of years.
Well, I don't have a problem with doing it this way. I just wanted to clarify that we do have an option if council so decides. I really don't think that, I think this is the best way to do it myself.
Okay.
So I would certainly support this motion.
Concur. Okay.
I like doing it this way because all the council gets to hear the facts when it comes in, and having members of the county at large on appeal, I like it better that way. I think work, at least we all get the same message when the application comes in.
Any other discussion? Okay, we have a motion on the floor by Councillor Luce that the Reeve and 6 councillors be appointed to the Municipal Planning Commission for the year 2013-2014 year. All in favor? Carried. Item 8.1, Old Man River Regional Commission Services, Old Man River Regional Services Commission.
Mr. Chairman, before you put that motion forward, I would request that matter be deferred. Number of reasons. I made a request after I got the agenda for some information regarding the amounts paid to Old Man River and the nature of our current relationship with them. I haven't received that information. I believe this council needs to examine whether or not it's beneficial to us to continue with them, and what sort of service indeed they're going to offer. I did a little bit of research in terms of the mandatory nature of their involvement, and there is no mandatory nature. Under the Municipal Government Act, there are a number of service commissions that are appointed pursuant to regulations, and I have copied those off for you all. And the only service commission in the province of Alberta which deals with planning matters is Old Man River Regional Planning Commission. Every other commission that's listed in the regulations deals with water, sewer, emergency services, etc. I look at the change in the Planning Act, or the repeal of the Planning Act in 1995 as a very significant benchmark for the local authorities to have control over their own planning decisions. And the rest of the province has basically embraced that concept, except the 40 municipalities in southern Alberta. Excuse me, the Land Titles Act does not require Old Man River Regional Services Commission endorsement on any registration of subdivisions. The Municipal Government Act Part 17 specifies that it is the subdivision authority who is to assign and approve this. I believe Old Man River Regional Services Commission is merely a consultant, and it has no authority other than to exist under that regulation. I've provided the regulation as an attachment there. And from my past experience dealing with the Old Man River Regional Planning Commission that gained its authority under the Planning Act 1977 and prior planning acts, is that was the decision-making body, and each municipality in its region sent one person to sit on the board. What I view happening in the recent years is, in essence, a subtle return to the concept of that body being a decision maker. They have proactive steps to suggest to the various councils that they need to do this and they need to do that, and it's my observations is past county councils have acceded to their recommendations virtually all the time. We have had a deep concern in our county over this proposed land use bylaw, and it's evident that people are not pleased with the product that came out of Old Man River Regional Services Commission. So before we appoint somebody to be a serving member, continue to serve, I think we need to investigate, examine, and assess whether we want to continue, and what, if we do, what sort of role they're to play. So what I would do before you address that is to make a motion that we do defer the appointment of anyone until we have had a full opportunity to look at the facts, the matters, the costs, etc. associated with this body. We have right now a development officer. My understanding he's in a full-time position. I think you're all familiar with the boilerplate that comes along with many of the subdivision applications, simply to communicate with the designated agencies, receive their input, and go through the land use bylaw, the municipal development plan criteria, and reach a decision. If there's a waiver necessary, etc., that can be done. So before we leap into this, I would like to explore as a council an alternative. I have a little approach that I like to use when I'm making a decision. One of them is, why should you do it? And the other one, surprisingly, is why you shouldn't do something. Every judge sitting in the province of Alberta has to look at both sides of every issue. They can't make a decision until they have sufficient information and material to do that. I'm going to approach my decision making with asking those two questions at all times. So that's for the record. I would like to make a formal motion that we defer dealing with item number 8.1 until the administration has provided us with the necessary information so that we can properly make a decision.
Okay, we have a motion. Discussion?
Discussion. I have no problem with getting more information, more background from the council as a whole. I'm not sure, and so I can support that. You put a time limit on that?
Whenever administration gets us the information and the next available council.
But my experience is that they're not a commission as much as they're a processing planning services. They provide staff that I don't think that we're going to be able to gear up to do. And it's a matter of how we utilize the staff. And if they've been imposing their thoughts on council, that's council's fault that we haven't got more engaged maybe and maybe give more directive on what direction it should or shouldn't go. Because I think we're still going to need to have some planning, processing services, because we deal with so many other agencies and we just don't have the room or the staff to do some of these things here. So, but I am, I'm in favor of getting a little more background information on it so that maybe we can decide who maybe be the counselor that should be working with them to make sure we get the services we need out of them and can provide that input, because I think some of that's just been the liaison and the communication back and forth. It's a necessary function in my mind. So, but I agree. I don't think we should be maybe appointing this position at this point in time, but and let's just explore that a bit. But no.
Any more discussion?
Mr. Chairman, I'm a little confused here about the title to the Old Man Regional Services Commission. Are they empowered with the powers of a commission? As I recall, it used to be an agency. So I'm wondering when they became a commission.
Yeah, I don't think they are committed to their services. The Regional Service Commission.
Regulation 303/2003, which I appended to that little list there at the back, is the enabling regulation, and they're have no enumerated powers. They have some prohibitions about making profits and acquiring and disposing of land, and they list the number of members to their commission. But this is why it's so unusual and unique in this legislative scheme. That's why I wanted to highlight the fact that they're the only ones in the province that have this concept of a commission for planning services. And I want to emphasize, I apologize, the cost is really important. They charge a fee. We pay presumably a fee to have them come. The residents pay a fee, and we pay a development officer's salary. And as I sit and look, it appears there's a duplication, or maybe there could be a savings to whether it's residents or to us in relation to what they perform. And I'm sensitive, obviously, to the communication with these outside agencies, but frequently I think that a lot of stuff that I view the Old Man River does is the secretary sends a bunch of letters out and receives comments back and puts it in a little package that comes before council. So again, I'm not, if council feels that it's appropriate, fine, but I want to take a look at this before we launch into just rubber stamping a significant commitment. Point.
I'm confused as well, because why do we have members sitting on that commission? Do they actually meet as a group someplace? And because they don't, we are the subdivision authority, right? The council is. So I didn't think they had any authority as a body. Do they? Or is it just to get together and decide how best to provide their services?
Can I speak to that, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, you can, and I would like Roger's opinion on there. He's served on that commission for quite a while. So first, let's hear from Murray.
Yeah, no, you're right. Council, they don't have any authority on the decisions made here. They help administration and council follow the bylaws that's set out by council. So they're more input into how to do it. They do other things. So the board is attended so that they have, they take care of some appeals on behalf of different things. They got the GIS that they do for different municipalities. So the organization as a whole does more things, and like I said, as Roger as a board member, they make the choices on that.
Yeah, I'm just a board member. I just go to the meetings four times a year. And I'm not on the executive. But the executive is what are the minutes that we get, is what the executive.
So what do you feel that you accomplish on that board representing Cardston
Well,
County?
I get to listen to what every community is talking about, listening to and
So we've always had a report.
we always had a report from the Orst, the executive.
I'll take things in order. Councillor Kearl had a comment, then Councillor Jacobs, and Councillor Roos.
One of the concerns by the costs are going up all the time. We start wondering, well, should we do more in-house? There are some mapping services that we can't do very efficiently in-house. We maybe do a special contract with them. They provide all the great maps. But other than that, I've started to wonder too if we can do it in-house and save some money. So I think we should do some investigating myself.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, I'd just like to, I don't want to bore council, but I'd like to go back in history just a little bit. I think I go back further than anybody around the table, and so I'm going to go back to 1983. When I was first elected to council, and at that time, the Oman River had authority to say what subdivisions would be approved and which ones would not be approved. And at that time, they had membership from the various municipalities in the southern region who went to meetings on a regular basis and decided what to do about the applications for subdivisions. That authority did not rest with council, I don't believe. So then, I don't remember the year, but in subsequent to that, the province changed the regulation and the commission became an agency. Well, in other words, as is indicated here in Duncan's handout on item 3, services, they were to provide services related to municipal planning. At that point, we stopped sending council members from the various towns and villages and municipalities to the Oman River. They simply came, if a municipality decided to hire their services, they came and offered advice or provided, as Councillor Kearl has indicated, maps or whatever was indicated. So we did not send anyone to Lethbridge, which is where they usually met. So I assume that after 2003, which is the date of this regulation, Mr. Thompson, that then you started to send members back. And I still don't know why, if they're only to provide services, I don't know why we send members there from the various municipalities when, if the municipality wants them, they can come to their municipality. And anyway, that's neither here nor there. I think we definitely need at this point to review this item. And so I'm going to speak in support of Mr. Thompson's motion that we defer this and pending further information. Because I actually don't know, I'm not convinced in my mind at this point that we need to send members to somebody to provide services for us, which if we want, we can employ them to come and provide us services. Thank you.
Councillor Roos?
I didn't have anything to say. I agree with, we'll vote on it, but I agree with getting some information.
Just a point of interest, Mr. Reeve, I predeceased you. I used to sit on the Oman River.
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize.
When they were an authority.
I thought I was the oldest guy.
Yeah. Well, you may be.
You started younger, okay.
You may be, and that's why it is a little confusing. Sometimes I think you're trying to go back to some of this where they were. And there was a reason why they went back to the municipalities for that subdivision authority and everything else. So
It's my understanding, to try and fill in the holes, was about 1995 that the government gave us the privilege to bring this home to our own municipalities, where we could act as our own municipal planning commission and make decisions for ourselves. What is going to happen in our own particular county or municipality. And that was the main driver and the framework installed for us to be able to formulate and come up with our first and only land use bylaw that was took a few years to create under your signature and Vern Quinton's, and that was in 1998.
That's right.
We've been operating since then as such. I believe it's my understanding that ORSC is basically contracted to us to supply services of planning and advice in areas that we are not expertise in to the level that we have an individual of planning status on our own staff that we rely on. So they do provide a service for us. Now I'm interested to know that contract is renewable. When does that come up? Do we know offhand?
I don't. I think we signed one last year. We would have to pull that out and see what it says on there.
Is it a yearly contract?
I believe it's, I don't know. I'm thinking it's more like a 3-year thing, but
Okay.
we'll pull that out.
Mr. Chairman, I got my formal resolution reduced to writing, and for the record, I'll read it for the benefit of council. Moved by Councilor Duncan Thompson that the decision to assign or appoint councilors or residents of the county to represent Cardston County in regard to Old Man River Regional Services Commission be and is hereby deferred until such further investigation into the net benefits to the county as well as potential appointees be properly conducted by council.
Okay. I have just a couple more comments, and then we'll ask again if there's anything from the table, and then we will proceed with the vote on this motion. I think it's important that we provide opportunity to understand the responsibility that ORSC has in contract with them and with us, that we honor the opportunity that is ours to explore what we are buying for the dollar that we're spending, and consider that, and that we do seek for more clarity on what it is that they provide. I have one question. Is this a council matter, or are we basically in council? Is this something that should be deferred to be dealt with in council?
Well, this is technically a council meeting, it's an organizational meeting.
Okay.
So the motion will stand because this is the planning stage there.
Okay. I want to make sure and understand that we are not relinquishing our responsibility to ORSC at this time until information is gathered to make an informed decision.
Of course.
So
that's why that's all I seek, Mr. Chairman.
okay. So I'll just, any other discussion? I'll repeat the motion and then we'll call for a vote. Moved by Councilor Duncan Thompson that the decision to assign or appoint councilors or residents of the county to represent Cardston County in regard to Old Man River Regional Services Commission be and hereby deferred until such further investigation into the net benefits to the county as well as potential appointees be properly conducted by county. All those in favor? All those opposed? Okay.
Copy that, so.
Just to explain my position on that, I feel I have a responsibility to do that. I'm in favor of certainly reviewing our situation with them and considering those options. My concern was that we don't give up a certain level of service until we understand what it is that we're.
Of course.
Okay, next item of business, 9.1, county council meetings.
Mr. Chairman, before that motion that's in the agenda be presented, I have a motion, a different motion, and I'd invite you all to consider this in regard to county council meetings. It addresses both the date and time of the meetings, as well as the location of them, and the concept of videotaping the same. When
Do you have one more copy? Or?
oh yeah. Part of my campaign was to seek the views of the residents regarding meeting times and potentially locations. We also, as you probably are aware, had a little website, and we conducted some very informal polls by people who chose to participate. And this, let me see. This was the results of this morning. From this morning, there were, on the question of should council meetings be moved to the evening so more people can attend and run for office, there were 79 votes that were cast over a period of time, and the results were 74 in favor of it and 5 against it. So the percentage was 93.67 in favor of it. I'd like to also emphasize something that's very near and dear to me. I began my political interest and involvement in 1971 at the University of Alberta. I got a Bachelor of Arts in Economics and Political Science, and my first year political science course, there's this little book called The Governing of Men that was first put out in 1958 and second edition in 1966 by a professor at the University of Wisconsin. And I prepared a little handout because I think it's very important as one makes decisions in a governing body, a public body, one that has a stewardship over the affairs of people, is to focus on some principles, because if we don't have principles to look to, then our decisions are ad hoc. And I have my personal views in regard to political philosophy, but I also understand the law that governs our land, and I believe it's in harmony with what I have viewed personally. That I just threw out a little bit of an extract from the book, and he quotes Thomas Jefferson from the American Declaration of Independence. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. That whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizations, and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. And he goes on and talks a little bit about what is a civil right and the self-evident aspect of that. The next thing I want to highlight, because it is critical as we sit around this table representing people, that we understand what our fundamental rights in this country are. And so I've given you the Canadian Bill of Rights that was passed in 1960. And the preamble says, an act for the recognition and protection of human rights and fundamental freedoms. Parliament of Canada affirming that the Canadian nation is founded upon principles that acknowledge the supremacy of God, the dignity and worth of the human person, and the position of the family in a society of free men and free institutions. Affirming also that men and institutions remain free only when freedom is founded upon respect for moral and spiritual values and the rule of law, and being desirous of enshrining these principles and the human rights and fundamental freedoms derived from them in a Bill of Rights which shall reflect the respect of Parliament for its constitutional authority and which shall ensure the protection of these rights and freedoms in Canada. And then in Section 1 they enumerate those things, and it's important to emphasize that it is hereby recognized and declared that in Canada there have existed. So it isn't a creation of these rights. There's an acknowledgement that they've been here and shall continue to exist without discrimination by reason of race, national origin, color, religion, or sex, the following human rights and fundamental freedoms. And they enumerate A to F, and obviously the first one is the right of the individual to life, liberty, security of the person, and enjoyment of property, and the right not to be deprived thereof except by due process of law. Then the next tab I have is our Alberta Bill of Rights, which came into effect in 1974, I believe, under Peter Lougheed's premiership. And he has taken a lot from the Canadian Bill of Rights. His preamble, whereas the free and democratic society existing in Alberta is founded on principles that acknowledge the supremacy of God and on principles fostered by tradition, that was added as well, that honor and respect human rights and fundamental freedoms and the dignity and worth of the human person. And then he comments about the Canadian Bill of Rights. And of course, we have those things enshrined, and that everything that is done in Alberta is subject to those fundamental rights and freedoms. We are governed by what the legislature tells us, and we're bound to follow that. The next little tab I threw in Charter of Rights and Freedoms that goes along with that same kind of concept. And so the point I'm trying to make with all of this background is that we represent people. We represent the citizens of the municipal boundaries of Cardston County that have hopes, aspirations, desires, struggles, successes, and the most basic thing to those people is their homes and where their land and where they live and how they earn their livings. And to promote their interaction and their understanding of what we're doing, to make it easier, as easy as possible for them to participate and come to county council meetings, is why I'm putting this forward. Now, not everybody can attend every meeting. Not everybody is physically able to. There are handicapped people, hence my desire that they be videotaped and put out on the internet, on the county's website, so it's sure that there's integrity in the recording and so on and so forth, so that the people can be aware. I'm familiar with a pretty interested number of people that were looking at the video from the public hearing in June. If we have evening meetings, then that allows the people an opportunity to come far easier than if they're 9 o'clock on Monday morning. I've lived in this county for 60 years, and I see things have changed dramatically. As a kid, it was a farming area, and most of the people in the county were farmers. That demographic has changed, and now most of the people are wage earners or self-employed businesses, and they need to be on the job or at their place of business during the day. I look at the town of Cardston, I look at the town of McGrath, the villages, their meetings are in the evenings. I believe that we have 2 meetings each month, starting at 6 o'clock. It'll maybe give us an incentive to say that, be less verbose and more efficient in how we approach things, but it will certainly promote these fundamental principles that I truly hold so dear and I believe are part of the laws that we govern. So, Mr. Chairman, that's why I wanted to a bit intercede and bring this forward rather than just to sort of carry on with what's done in the past. Because, as you can appreciate, people can't come at 9 o'clock in the morning. It's also important, in my opinion, that we take our meetings throughout the county. And so I've proposed a little schedule of going to McGrath twice a year, going to Hill Spring and Glenwood once a year, going to Del Bonita, to the community hall, so that the people have a trust and confidence and an open door, that we aren't a mystery, but we are their servants. And when they have a concern, when they have a request, that they feel we're not as intimidating as Edmonton or Ottawa. So I'll sit down now
Okay.
so my motion is to move the county meetings, council meetings, to 2 times each month. I suggest a Wednesday because that is about the best day of the week that doesn't interfere with holidays and long weekends, and to have them videoed and a variety of locations. Whether it's the 2nd and 4th Wednesday or the 1st and 3rd Wednesday, it doesn't matter, but.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Any discussion?
Well, are we, first the motion is 9.1, not the complete thing?
Yeah, I apologize. I put that together, but you're quite correct, Councillor Luce, that these have to be dealt with separately, not as a conglomerate. Thank you.
Councillor
Yes,
Baker.
Mr. Say we're going to eat this elephant one bite at a time here. Is there a reason why Mondays was selected by the previous council? Is there a good reason for Mondays opposed to Wednesday? I personally don't have a problem with Wednesday, but is there a reason why before we change it?
When I've done here, that's the way I've done it for 40 years, and we continue. I don't know why. I guess it was a good time for councillors to come. I honestly don't know why, Mr. Chairman, I don't know.
I find that Monday works better for me because I can prepare over the weekend. We all have lead busy lives, and that works better for me. That's why I prefer Monday.
I actually prefer a Wednesday because if you got a long weekend, you're traveling, visiting with grandkids or wherever else, you can travel back on you're not working, you can travel back on a Monday or something. But just because of a long weekend, you're not traveling Sunday or something, I'll make it whenever, but Wednesday's okay with me unless there's a good reason not to.
Well, I certainly respect the intent of the motion. And I'm not surprised that Councillor Thompson brought it up, because I know he campaigned on this. My first reaction is, I've sat in meetings here over the years that went 14, 16 hours. And I don't know that we were wasting time. I think we were giving everybody an opportunity to speak and think and deliberate. And I mean, there's some motions here and some items that certainly take time to develop. So I'll confess to this council right now that if we start at 6 and by 10 o'clock, I'm basically done as far as my mental capacities are concerned. Like I always said, I'm the oldest guy here, so I would ask a little sympathy. But so if council wants to go this route, I would at least ask that that the chairman might accept a couple of amendments. Maybe we could start an hour earlier and put a time frame on when we're going to stop. But even doing that, Mr. Chairman, I know what's going to happen. You get in a discussion where decisions got to be made, and let's say we put 10 o'clock as the time to stop. Then 10 o'clock comes and 10 o'clock goes, and we're still there at midnight. And I don't believe that human beings make good decisions after 10 o'clock at night. Maybe there's some people that do, but farmers, as a rule, get up in the morning and go to bed at night. So, Councilor Thompson, I have those concerns about your motion. As far as Monday, Wednesday, I sort of agree with Councilor Luce that Monday has worked well for me because, I have a weekend and I can usually get our agendas a couple of days early, so I got a couple of days to look at the agenda and think about it. Although I'm not totally opposed to Wednesdays, but I just have those concerns, Mr. Chairman, about evening starts. Now, I know the towns do it, but towns tend to meet more often than we do, and they most of them live right in town, so they don't. Councillor Houghton's got at least a 1 hour drive, maybe an hour and 10 minutes, I forget, to get home after we leave here, Councillor Luce, and I only got, Councillor Bester's got 20, at least, probably half an hour. So So I think we need to consider all those factors before we actually, but the intent, I know what Councillor Thompson's trying to do here. He's trying to make this more accessible to the people, and it's hard to argue with that. But I think we also have to consider these other factors. So I'll listen to other comments here.
Can we split this into two motions, so we can talk about the day of the week, we can talk about the hour?
Yeah, there's two issues here. Basically, we're dealing with when to hold the meeting, as far as evening or daytime, and the other one is what choice of day. I'd like to separate those.
Oh, okay.
Let me say this. I wanted to throw this out. However we decide, we want to. Okay. So if people wish to make amendments to the motion, I say they're at liberty to do it, or to the motion. So I just wanted to discuss.
Well, can we split that motion first, and then we can make amendments?
Beg your pardon?
We split that motion into two parts?
Yes.
Would that be okay with you?
Sure. So which part are we going to deal with first, Mr. Chairman? The day or the time?
I want to first, I think what we'll do is we'll go with we'll deal with the time, and then we'll deal with the day. Prior to putting that forward, I think we need to complete any discussion, any other comments that anybody might have on this.
Well, I would find it quite difficult to have an evening meeting. 4 times a month, 4 meetings a month. I mean, I got a son in hockey, it's 4 nights a week, so I practice, and I mean, it's, I find it hard to have that many evening meetings. I mean, we wouldn't get it, our regular agenda wouldn't cover it in 4 hours that we've been having. So that would make it 4 meetings a month, maybe 5.
Okay.
I'm still, are we talking about what day we're going to have the meeting, or what time we're going to have the meeting?
We've got both those issues. We're going to
So we're
separate
talking
them
about a
out.
Monday meeting and what time we're going to hold?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just sorry, the old councillors, I need to get your phones so that we can get the contacts transferred over, if you want them transferred over.
Now the people want to take pictures like
Just before lunch. So I'm sorry interrupting, but they're here, so I'll just, if I can grab the old councillors' phones, they can switch them over.
Just want no phones.
Is there a councillor on? Councillor?
I'd like to wait and call you guys hold the council.
Well, we're all getting there. Day by day.
I know what you meant.
On the table, you just threw it out for discussion.
Do you have a pencil?
Yes. Obviously, I want to have the discussion, and it's subject to amendment. So it's not.
Sorry.
So we really should formally split the two. When we do that.
Councillor Reeve?
I'm concerned with, like, the towns and stuff that do go with night meetings. They end up having committees to handle everything, and I really don't like committees, because then you get a slanted view. This is my opinion. But that committee hears the information, and then they bring their view of the information to the council to make a decision. And that concerns me. I don't agree with committees. I want the council as a whole to hear all of the information that's brought forward and stuff, and we're going to have I can't see how we can go cover enough stuff in evenings. I can see maybe doing an evening meeting once a quarter, or once every 2 months, something like that, to give people the opportunity to come in. And with the videotaping, that gives the people the opportunity to see what we're doing and where we're at.
You bet.
I propose a compromise here, because I think that, it's said here before, that if required, we can have that second meeting. I think we should have a daytime meeting. Wednesday's my preference, because that gives my weekend something to come back and forth on. But I think we should have a daytime meeting, because we get the staff here, we can pull them in, because they're quite critical to some of our operations, and then have that second meeting if required, in the evening, because there are times when some of our, I will not call them ratepayers, taxpayers, because that's the only thing that's in the act, is taxpayers, who can't get away from work, who need to come and make a presentation. I think we have those, then we have that second meeting on the nighttime to allow for that, so folks can come and participate in that. But my preferences would be Wednesday, one daytime, one nighttime meeting, second, or whatever, second and fourth Wednesday of the month.
And I agree with Jim, and I like the middle of the week. I don't like Monday. We have a large percentage of our population who are encouraged to have family meeting on Monday night, and we should not be having our meetings Monday night because they can't come. So Wednesday is better from that point of view during the week.
On our day meetings, that wouldn't affect the Monday evening.
Right.
And so we would have our Monday meeting, and I'm open for the day change anyway, but the Monday meeting could be daytime, and our evening meeting could be a day that doesn't affect. Not everybody in the county has family home evening.
That's right.
Probably very few,
But there are long weekends in your fear, and it gives us a chance to come and go, and make use of long weekend.
But on our long weekends, we don't have one of these.
No, I know, but personal, we could stretch our own long weekends, you know, instead of traveling on a Sunday and come back, we can travel on a Monday or something. I think it opens it up more for us as individuals, not so much the evening or anything else, but
Okay, I'd like to, if everyone's done with their comments, I'd like to try and pull this together. We've had several options here. I have some concerns. There's a lot of resources that we use in our council meeting in this building, in this room, regards to staff, media, our tools, our equipment, and all that regard. It's one of the concerns I have. Another concern that I have is the cost of dollars. That would double our costs in regards to having our staff working after hours. Also, it would cost of travel, the travel time, booking a facility at each location, although some of the communities no doubt would probably participate with us on that. I have a concern about the time frame that would be allotted to, but I got two questions. As far as the information presented to us here, what does the CRAP stand for on this page?
Communication, responsibility, accountability, and problems. That's from our website.
Communication, responsibility, accountability,
And problems.
problems. The other point that I'm trying to understand the driver on going from a daytime to a nighttime. I have nobody in my division that's asking for evening meeting to attend. The door is always open. It's always open to the public. Some, very few take advantage of that. And there are occasions that we've had pretty good support, and some not at all. So I've only had one individual express a desire to have an evening meeting, and that individual has a summer off, and I've never seen him attend a daytime meeting because it doesn't conflict with his employment at that time. So I asked the question as to what is the driver to even consider moving our meetings. I would also suggest that we do consider some options. I feel that we need to get out into the community more. I would suggest that we have open houses on a quarterly basis or a semi-annual basis, that we can go out and sponsor an evening to meet with the electorate in that particular area or the ratepayer and deal with matters or concerns that they have on an invitational basis. I totally agree that we need to be reaching into the community more than we have in the past, and I think there are other ways of being able to do that. So having said that, I see two issues at hand here.
Do you want me to respond to your question about what the driver is here?
Well, I think you mentioned this, and you've given us some information here that we'll need some time to review.
Well, I'll put it in a nutshell.
And I think you've expressed it, that you want the people would like to have the opportunity to engage council at a more convenient time that might be acceptable to them, and I'm suggesting that we provide some method or avenue to be able to do that,
Well, I'll put it
other than a council
I'll
meeting.
put it in a nutshell. Are we here to serve the people, or are the people there to serve us? That is the fundamental criteria that we need to build upon. And to say open houses is not the same thing as a decision-making meeting where people can come and speak and participate and so on. Now, so that's the driver, is we have to give the people trust and confidence in us. And that is only generated by an open door and an acknowledgement that we serve them. This sends a significant message. Now, the definition of politics is compromise and good ideas, and maybe we do have a daytime meeting of unlimited duration and a second meeting a month in the evenings, so that reaches the opportunity for people to come. They don't have to come every meeting, but there's a driver,
Yeah.
Mr. Chair.
No, I'll do that.
Well, for the first time in my life, I totally agree with Councilor Thompson.
You do.
Good point.
I'm going to go back in history. As I understand it, the Greeks, thousands of years ago, decided to practice pure democracy. So every Saturday morning they met on a town square or someplace in the city, and they all voted on every item that was going to be presented. They soon found that that was really a tough process because most people couldn't get informed about every item, and pandemonium basically evolved. So then we went to the concept of representative democracy. So the people in Cardston County on October the 21st voted to elect us 7 to represent them at this table to make decisions. If my people, and I've already had several calls from my people, if they have concerns, they call me and ask me to represent their concern at the table, which I've always tried to do. And I'm sure all my colleagues here try to do the same thing. So I don't know if just having an evening meeting will really solve this perception that you have that we need to do this so we can have a pure form of democracy. Because I think if we do our jobs, we can satisfy their concerns by having a meeting and we come together. And if we need to have them come to council, we can certainly, as a matter of fact, Mr. Chairman, when I was here, if anybody wanted to come and talk to council at any time, they could. Is that not still the policy?
That's correct.
So that is sort of an open door policy.
It is.
And certainly, I think we'll get more people coming on a Monday or a Wednesday. Actually, I favor Monday myself, but I think more people will come during the day rather than will come at 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night. So I guess I'm going to come out here and say that I'm going to support the Monday concept and the day meeting. Whatever, I don't know how you're going to vote on this, but.
Can I move a motion to this, amendment to this motion?
Yeah, okay, I'll entertain an
Okay,
amendment.
because we haven't got the word we split or anything else. And my only amendment to this would be the second paragraph, normal starting for each meeting will be 9 a.m. in the morning, or I guess because we got the evening. And I would leave everything else as 9.1 of his motion. The only amendment would be, because it says, provided, however, the council may vary the starting time by motion of council if circumstances require it. Because if we get to a situation where we should have an evening meeting for that second one, we can do that to accommodate folks for their scheduling and time and things like this. Other than that, that stays good with the motion as it is here in terms of 9 a.m. We just switch it from Monday to Wednesday. And so I just make that simple amendment to Mr. Thompson's motion, and I think that provides that we can still, even if we do it on a regular basis, that we can move that second meeting to an evening, or at least if we need to be.
Okay.
So what is the amendment?
The motion as he puts it stands, except for the amendment, is normal starting for each meeting shall be 9 a.m. in the morning. That's the only amendment I made. The rest of it is Wednesdays and first and second Wednesday, and it allows for that proviso.
If we start at 9 a.m., it'd be a rare month that we'd need a second council meeting. We need MPC, we need other, but not a council meeting, except in emergencies or whatever.
Okay. I see three things happening here. We have a motion by Councillor Duncan Thompson presented to us here. Are you wishing to have that stand as is, or do you want to correct or change anything there?
I would, again, in the spirit of compromise, we start the second Wednesday meeting at 9 a.m. and have, as Councillor Kearl expresses, there's a need for a second meeting during the month. It will likely be an abbreviated type meeting, and that any meeting that's held on the fourth Wednesday of every month would begin at 6 p.m. or 5 p.m. or 4 p.m. or something that would allow those who perhaps could not, because of their employment, get to any daytime meeting an opportunity to come to council. And so, again, if the council did meet on the second or fourth Wednesday, that would be an evening meeting.
I can concur with that.
Okay. The other thing I think we need to do is we need to split the motion such that we vote whether we start at 9 in the morning as what's presented here. The other thing is I think we need to split out what day we're going to do. Part of the discussion here is showing support for Wednesday and support for Monday. So I think we need to separate that out. So if somebody would like to make a motion to the effect, I think Duncan has already kind of clarified that. If you could just, and I believe the amendment that Councillor Bester has indicated that we go with what is written in here, other than I think we need to vote separately as to what day. And
Well, Mr. Chairman, I think we also need to discuss separately this second council meeting concept. Because I just heard Councillor Kearl say, I think, that the second meeting has generally been an MPC meeting.
Right.
So
three things then.
Please don't make me vote on both.
That's why I'd like to. That's why I'd like to separate it.
Yeah, I
so
agree.
we're treating with
Yeah.
each individual
Yeah.
item here. Okay. So where do we start? Councillor
When you have an amendment,
We
does
need to
not
vote.
I'll withdraw the amendment because
Withdraw
of
the
discussion.
amendment?
I'll withdraw the amendment because I
Okay.
concur with what.
So we can deal with your motion at hand first.
Well, he needs
and
to
then-
split it to two parts.
The first part, 9.1A, is I move that the Cardston County Council meetings for the coming year be held on the second Wednesday of each month. And if a second meeting is required, and I'm using the language that's on the agenda, that be held on the fourth Wednesday of each month.
Okay.
Period.
Period. Okay.
Yes.
Everybody understand the motion? Any more discussion?
well, we didn't separate the second meeting out, but
No.
okay, we'll leave it in the motion. Yeah.
I will
We'll
qualify.
deal with this and then we'll entertain another
Sure.
motion.
And let me just reference that the language was if required.
Yeah.
We can,
Very
so,
good.
if required.
And you don't want to keep that with exceptions in there?
I want to see if it's interpreted correctly here, so let's,
So I've got moved by Councillor Duncan Thompson that if Cardston County Council meeting for the upcoming year be held on the second Wednesday of each month, and if required, a second meeting to be held on the fourth Wednesday of each month.
Perfect.
Well, municipal conventions,
Well, we put a period there, I mean, I think you're gonna work around it whenever you have to.
okay, this is basically dealing with what day we meet, correct? All right. That's the motion then. Those in favor? Those against? Okay. We entertain another motion.
So do you want to, sorry, can I speak?
Yes.
I was gonna say, keep that same motion, but change the dates.
I'll make a motion, we have it second Monday, and we could move it to the fourth Wednesday, because that's our regular day now. Yes, we are fourth Wednesday.
I'm gonna ask the question, why?
Because our development officer from Morse is on maternity leave, and Wednesday's the only day we do.
Oh, I see, okay.
Okay.
But
That's gonna change quickly.
the other thing is, are we talking about MPC meeting, or are we talking about it if required a second meeting for council? Then that's what we voted for
Yeah.
last.
Okay, second meeting.
So your motion would be for the second meeting on a Wednesday.
Yes.
Is that?
Oh, no,
I got the right motion.
Are we clear on this?
Well, now it's gonna,
Second Monday and fourth Wednesday.
moved by Councillor Roger Thompson at Cardston County. Houghton, sorry.
He swore at you.
Sorry. Councillor Houghton, that the county council meetings for the upcoming year be held on the second Monday of each month, and if required, a second meeting be held on the fourth Wednesday of each month.
Okay, any discussion, any further discussion? Okay, those in favor? Those opposed?
That'd be best.
All right. Finishes 9.1 banking, 10.1?
No, on time.
9.1B. Good thing we're not starting at 6 o'clock.
Okay. All right. Time. Who would like to entertain a motion as to what time?
I'll make a motion, 9 o'clock, first, second Monday.
Is that 9 o'clock for both meetings, Roger, or just one?
Well, I guess we'll have to have a time for all that.
Did you hear the motion?
5 or 6. 6 o'clock Wednesday.
You want to go to 6 or 5?
Okay, I'll make 5.
I mean, that's, I just want clarification on it
Well,
for the second if
if
required.
we start before supper, we gotta have supper.
So,
Split 6 is better for everyone.
Yeah, well, 6 would be fine, because
6 o'clock. Okay, we have a motion by Councillor Roger Houghton that the time of the meetings be for a regular council meeting held on the second Monday of every month to be commenced at 9 a.m. in the morning. And if required, a second meeting on the fourth Wednesday of the month to be held in the evening starting at 6 p.m. Correct? Any discussion on?
Well, so are you going to deal with MPC matters only on the second Wednesday or the fourth Wednesday, or will they be on the second one? Because I think MPC matters would be better dealt with earlier in the day rather than later in the day. Because my recollection of MPC matters is sometimes this is when we get into some real discussion over some concerns about what's being proposed, and many times people want to come and make their presentation. So frankly, Mr. Chairman, I have a little problem with starting an MPC meeting, if that's what it's going to be, at 5 or 6 o'clock at night. So I'm opposed to this time.
okay, I thought that we were dealing with council.
That's right.
Council meeting, not MPC. for the
So when will MPC meetings be?
I guess
That's the difference.
that's still coming up
Oh, okay.
when we have our MPC. And I agree, we need to have MPC during the day.
All right.
Or that's my thought, but
So does
dealing
that
strictly with,
necessitate then a third meeting possible third meeting each month, or what?
Well,
I think
It's
you could
required
start
as-
MPC earlier, maybe in the afternoon or whatever, because again, the fourth Wednesday would only be if it was required.
For
if there-
council.
For council meetings, so that could
But
be.
no one's answering my question, is when are, I know there are gonna be some MPC items.
we
So
will
when are
have,
we gonna deal with it? That's all I wanna know.
past practice has been, our MPC meeting has been held on the fourth Wednesday of the month.
Fourth Wednesday?
Yes, fourth Wednesday.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
At 9
It
a.m.
used to be the fourth Monday, but as Roger indicated, that our planner that we had is on maternity leave, and replacement bumped us by not having that day of the week free, and so we chose to move to a Wednesday.
But Mr. Chairman, we have a motion to defer the decision on
Yes,
Orissa, so.
right. So that's maybe not part of the formula, but, well, it is part of it. This gets a little bit more interesting. But let's deal with this one here. Our opportunity that I see for second council meeting in the month, and if I speak from a past previous term, there has only been maybe one or two occasions that we haven't dealt with the matters at hand during the daytime meeting. So, but on occasion, we may go into a Wednesday evening, or we may choose to hold a particular item, especially if it's characteristic of a certain division, to have an evening council meeting maybe to deal with those things.
Or on request. I
Or
think would
request,
be,
yes. But recognizing the fact it may double us up with two meetings the same day, one being daytime, one being evening.
Thanks for the clarification.
Yeah. You okay with that
Yes.
motion then? Any
You want to
more
amend that a
discussion?
little bit then?
No,
Because, well,
that'd be-
we should
that-
have-
That's for council.
Pardon?
MPC is coming up later.
Okay.
Yeah.
But as long as-
But if NPC is likely going to be on the Wednesday, why don't we make this one starting at 5 o'clock then, so we're not sitting around with a huge wait between the two meetings?
Because
Yeah,
part of
we-
it's
we-
for people who come, that we're for serving the public. Excuse me.
Yeah, I guess we could set this one at 5, because there'll be, very seldom there'll be an evening meeting, council, I'm thinking, so I don't know.
Councilor Bester.
I prefer to start at 6. The reason is if we do have an MPC meeting during the day, then we can have a break. And the second reason is if we're trying to serve the public who can only come in the evening, by the time people get through, off their job, are you able to get here, school kids, all that sort of thing. If we're trying to accommodate them, 6 o'clock is a much better time than 5 o'clock.
Are you okay in your motion to have 6 o'clock as the
Yeah.
time to commence the second?
Okay.
All right. The motion that we're dealing with on the table at this particular time then, that Roger Houghton has made, that the time that we start regular council meeting be at 9 a.m. on a Monday, on the second Monday of the month, a regular scheduled county council meeting, and if a second meeting is required during that month, that it be held on the fourth Wednesday of the month, and it is commenced and start at 6 p.m. Okay? Any more discussion?
Roger, did you want to also have the, provided however, the council may vary the starting time by motion of council if circumstances require?
I think that's, option is available.
Yeah, so that if,
Yeah,
I think that
We
option is
weren't
available
bound,
on
but
any
it-
meeting. Yeah.
and in case of
And we don't have that.
long weekends, we'd have to have
So we can,
a council to change the date.
so we can include the balance of that, but council may vary the starting time by motion if council and circumstances required. Okay?
Yes.
We're all clear on this?
I think so. Moved by Roger Houghton that the times, maybe she's got it better than I, for the regular council meeting to start at 9 a.m. If it required a second council meeting to start at 6 p.m. On the second Wednesdays.
Fourth
Wednesday, sorry. I guess I don't really need that motion's up there before. Start at 6 p.m. However, council may vary the starting times by motion of council as required.
Everybody clear? Okay. Those in favor? Carried. All right.
We're still at 9.2 here.
9 point. Okay.
Putting that page over there.
9.2, which is not on the agenda. Can add that to the agenda?
It's up to council if they want to add it.
Anybody, we can deal with this either at the end of our organizational meeting under other business, or we can deal with it now.
We spent a lot of time with this, we should get on some of this, I think, at the end.
So we'll deal with this at the end then under other. Okay, let's go on 10.1 banking. Past practice has been that Cardston County has done their banking at the Royal Bank of Canada, Cardston branch. Anybody wish to make a motion to this effect? Councilor Jim Vester has moved that Cardston County does their banking at the Royal Bank of Canada, Cardston branch. Any discussion?
No, I don't have discussion.
Just jumping. Okay. All in favor? Carried. Item 11.1, signing authority. Past practice has been that the Reeve and Deputy Reeve sign with the county administrative officer or the development officer on the bank accounts.
I so move.
Comment on that from administration? Signing authority as far as vacancy or anything like that need to be considered?
No.
Okay.
I'll make that motion, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Councilor Broyce Jacobs moves that the Reeve and Deputy Reeve sign with the county administrative officer or the development officer on the bank accounts. Any discussion? All in favor? Carried. Per diem and other duties. That the rate of pay for the Reeve and councillors be set to reflect the inflation rate as of November the 1st, 2013. Meetings, $181 for those held during the normal working day, then $90.50 for those held during the evening hours.
Yeah, those
We
are
have
the
three
rates.
separate motions here, so we have a motion to the first effect. Roger Houghton moves that the rate of pay for the Reeve and councillors be set to reflect the inflation rate as of November the 1st, 2013. Meetings $181 for those held during the normal working day, then $90.50 for those held during the evening hours. Any discussion?
Yeah, just for clarification, it's 181 right now, so it'll go up by the inflation rate come November 1st.
Yeah. That's what the motion says.
Yeah.
Okay, so we want to deal with the inflation rate first?
No,
No,
I
just
think that,
Oh, we'll put the inflation rate in then?
No,
Those two different motions.
Okay, we have from Statistics Canada here our price index by province, and it indicates that all items have gone up by a percentage of 1.3. So that would be the inflation rate that we would put in that motion. Councillor Jacobs?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to comment on the first item under 12.1. I personally am not comfortable with putting the inflation rate in there every year. For my basic reason is that if council gives themselves inflation rate every year, then it's totally to be expected that all the employees will expect the same treatment, and not that they shouldn't. But there have been times when, under budget constraints, and I'm basically now talking from my provincial experience, when I and my colleagues decided, because of budget constraints, we didn't know if we could give a 3% inflation rate to everybody that worked for the province. So as MLAs, we decided, well, we won't give ourselves any rate of inflation increase in our pay. And we did that at least 6 or 7 or just about every year I was there, we did that. The problem with that, I understand, is that then you get a little bit behind, and all of a sudden you need to give a substantial increase, which the public always doesn't like, because if you give a 10 or 15% increase, they think, well, we're really patting our pockets. So there's two sides to that story, but I'm just not comfortable with putting inflation in there, because I think we have the option either way of, if we want to give ourselves the inflation rate, we can. My concern is, why do we need to put it in motion? So I would prefer that we didn't put inflation in there, but I look forward to what my colleagues will say.
Okay, it is, just for clarification, standard procedure that the employee base is subject to an increase in their salary automatically by the inflation rate on a yearly basis, whether it go up or whether it go down, they're subject to that adjustment.
That's by motion of council?
No, that's struck in the agreement with.
Oh, that's your agreement?
Yes, yeah, it's not,
Okay.
council has nothing to do with setting wages.
So then why does council need to guarantee themselves inflation rate if the employees are already guaranteed they're going to do it?
We don't.
Just to clarify that, the council does set the inflation rate for the employees each year. They don't set the bonus, or not the bonus, it's the increase for performance or anything, but the standard inflation rate is set by council at council's authority.
Well then, what does it say in your agreements?
It says council can give no increase, or they give it's up to council to determine what the inflation.
So it's not.
It's not an unknown.
It's not mandatory.
No.
Okay. So
And I would agree then that the same condition apply to our salary, to our rate. Would only make it fair.
but we said,
And respecting your comments.
but we say we're going to set the inflation rate at 1 point whatever you said, and so I just don't know why we need the real word. Given what's been said, why do we need to in there that will reflect the inflation rate? I mean, we have the option anyway.
Okay, so we haven't got a motion to this effect yet, so do we want to change the motion?
I was going to listen to some comments before I proceeded.
Councilor Bester?
Is this 181, was this what the standard has been for last year? or
That's right.
Year before that, or?
No, it's been going up by inflation.
So
Every year.
1.3% is a couple bucks. We're
That's
not
right.
talking about much of anything.
$2.53.
Yeah, and I think it's fair for employees to be able to have the same benefit anyways, so I don't have any problem with holding things as it stands.
I think that this is sort of not, I think this could be handled and to say the same thing in both regard, that we set a rate for council of the day, and then we talk about that this rate on a yearly basis be corrected by the rate of inflation if it is the choice of council of the day.
I'm good with that.
That gives it some clarity.
You're changing it?
No. Well,
Even
I'm
like-
changing the proposed motion here, is what I'm saying, that we move by that the rate of pay for Reeve and councillors be set to, at the rate of $181 meetings for those held during the normal working hours on the day, and then $9.50 for those held during the evening hours. Just that simple. And then on the second motion, that the rate of the meetings be based on the inflation rate that would be applicable to those rates on a yearly basis if we decide to make that choice.
Yeah, just for clarification, instead of saying based on, when we use the word increased by the inflation rate.
Yes.
And increased by both of those, then I think it's clear.
Yeah, yeah. So if somebody would like to make a motion on this, we move
I
forward.
would make that motion as you clarify, or as you stated it, Mr. Reeve.
And would you restate that, Mr. Reeve? 'Cause
Do you have it down?
If I'm understanding you right, the first motion would be that the rate for pay for the Reeve and councillors be set to reflect meetings of 181 for those during the normal work days, then 90/50 for those during the evenings. Second motion is the
The
rate.
first one, Marie, why do you need reflected?
You don't?
We don't, just need to be set as or
Oh, I
whatever
should take
choice.
that out
of
then. Yeah. Set as, yeah. Okay, sorry, I didn't press that now.
To be set at $181 for a day meeting.
Yeah.
Plus inflation.
Well, and then the second motion says that the
second
rate of
motion will
meetings
deal with the inflation.
be increased on the inflation rate of, what you put in there, 1.3, this was
So the second motion determines whether inflation applies to the regular rate or not.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
I'll
So,
make that
Councilor
motion, yes.
Jacobs made that motion?
It's sort of, it's an amendment, so I'll make that amendment.
Well, nobody made a first motion, so.
Yes.
Roger did.
Oh, Roger did? Okay, all right.
Okay.
You want to withdraw your motion?
Yep, no.
And we'll stick with your motion then?
Yes.
Okay,
So,
for clarity? All right, I think we understand this. Go ahead.
I'm confused. What is your motion exactly?
Well, my motion is that the rate of pay for Reeve and Council be $181 for those doing normal weekday meetings and $90.50 for those during evening hours. No inflation rate, just straight $181, $90.50 as the rate of pay for Reeve and Council.
So no inflation at all?
Well,
that's
the inflation is going to be covered.
Second motion will take care of
Okay,
it.
two motions, okay.
Question, Councillor Houghton?
Yes. Oh, no, that's coming next.
Okay, any more discussion? Okay, those in favor? Those opposed? Okay. Okay, second motion in regards to 12.1, that the rate for meetings be based on the inflation rate. I guess we'll include this 1.3, that this will be set in November of each year. Now we should clarify,
Took out base just to say increase.
Increased.
okay, that the rate of meetings be increased at the current inflation rate set by a provincial standard, or does that need to
That's the federal,
federal statistic? Okay. Somebody would like to make a motion to that effect?
So which one's that?
This discusses the,
Oh, here.
Sure.
okay,
Motion.
Councillor Kearl will attempt to make a motion.
Do we want to say increase?
The discussion. Increase is set at base.
Pardon? I know you changed it to increase, but I guess this is just for this year anyway, so.
Okay, Councillor Kearl,
Hopefully sometime.
would you like to state it, or did you like me to?
Yeah. Personally, I prefer one big motion, just to make it clear. But, yeah, so what I'm saying is that, yeah, we're suggesting that for these meetings, that these rates noted above, 181 and 90.50, be increased by the rate of inflation of 1.3% as of November 1st. And the same for the council duties, increased by 1.3% from the 397.
Would you jump into another motion?
Two separate.
Oh, yeah, big
Well,
concern.
Mr. Chairman, when we do legislation, I prefer the words may instead of shall. So in this one, I would prefer it if we have the option there, if council wants to set the rate of pay based on the inflation rate over their base pay, okay. But I don't know why we have to put it writing in stone that we're going to do it. Sometimes the inflation rate's 5%. And, you know, that's a really nice increase. If it happened, at 1.1 is, I think I heard Councillor Thompson say it was $2, I don't know, I forget what he said.
53 cents.
So I just, like I said to begin with, I prefer may. When we talk about laws, I prefer may rather than shall. It's just my background. You're going to hear a lot from me about that one over the next couple
Yeah,
of
but
years.
this isn't the final.
So I don't know, Councillor Kearl, if you could consider reflecting that in your motion or not. Maybe don't read, okay?
Well, let me say something here then,
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman. Okay. All I'm saying is for this year, we're talking about November 1st, these amounts are going to go up by 1.3%. I'm not talking about every other year, just right now, just trying to get things clarified so that we're not paying ourselves more than what we're saying we're paying ourselves. Just
You
make it
pay
clear.
yourselves 181 plus 1.3%.
That's right.
This isn't setting a policy.
And that's okay.
This is something that happens every year that we'll discuss as an
But why can't we just reflect in the motion that, yeah, we can do that if we want to, but we don't have to do it.
Yeah.
But here the motion is that we will be doing it.
Yeah, I understand that, and that's my problem with the motion.
Why don't,
That's fine.
Mr. Chairman, if we, on that last sentence, said, this will be reviewed in November of each year. Because I take, the use of each year
Right.
contemplates the future. So if we just say eliminate set and put reviewed, that gives us the flexibility to do.
It doesn't say what we'll do for this year.
This isn't, we're not setting policy, we're making a decision here.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Then we got to get out each year. It has to be.
Yes.
Right. May I make a change to my motion then? Say, this will be set at November 1st, 2013. We're not talking about other years, we're just talking about right now. Is that all right?
Okay. We need to repeat this motion?
Moved by Kearl that the rates for the meetings be increased by the rate of inflation of 1.3. This will be set at November 1st, 2013.
You okay with that?
No, I'll vote against it, but that's okay. I'm gonna lose, so I don't care.
Okay, any more
I've lost
discussion?
lots of votes.
Any more discussion? Okay, those in favor? Those opposed? Same motion, this is this redundant? Oh no, this is mileage now. Okay, that the rate for councillor duties be $397 per month plus mileage of 405 kilometers based on inflation rate, pencil in 1.3. Anybody choose to make that motion?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, any discussion?
Yes, just we change base to increase by for clarity.
Okay. You okay with that, Roger? Moved by Councillor Roger Houghton that the rate for councillor duties be $397 per month plus mileage of 405 kilometers, increased by inflation rate of 1.3. Any discussion?
Just some clarification, you mean this 397 is on top of your meeting fees?
Yes.
Yes.
Just want me to explain it, maybe I should have explained it this morning. When I give out your time books at the end of the day here, for your calls, for your times when you go out to meet Joe and Fred and stuff, that's what that money covers. And the $450 is for your travel to cover that. Any of the meetings that you come to council or you've been assigned to, that's when you write your meeting times down. So if you go meet with Fred for half a day to talk about why the pigs get out through the fence, that doesn't count as a meeting time. This is just for, that's what that covers.
Just for the phone calls in the middle of the night.
And
We'll get
visit some time spent. Any other discussion? Those in favor? Those against? Carried. Now we refer that the rate of pay for the Reeve be $226.44 per month in addition to the regular councillor pay based increased by the inflation rate of 1.3.
I'll make that motion.
Any discussion? All in favor? Carried. Subsistence. Motion that the subsistence rate be $250 per day for meals and lodging when it is overnight. Meals $25 per day or $15 per half day, or have receipts for meals for the day. Anyone like to make that motion?
Can I get some clarification on this? For instance, if a person goes to a conference, they pre-register you, does the county pick up the hotel or the individual councilors pay for their hotel?
You go ahead with the explanation on that.
So what we'll do, like the conference coming up, it's going to be, let's say 4 nights. We'll give you $250 a night, and that will cover your food and your hotels.
We pay the hotel.
You pay the whole thing, and if you do whatever you want, we just pay you that whole amount.
We traditionally go ahead and make the arrangements and book the rooms. If you have another suggestion or an alternate.
These aren't $300 rooms, are they?
No.
Sometimes.
They're getting close. The Westin that we're in now is, I think it's $219. So it's close, and this is something that the council has talked about in the past, that we're getting to those points where those hotels are getting up there.
Well, it's $219 plus taxes, plus all kinds of other things.
Parking, and
Plus
it
parking
does
and
get, it does get pricey.
But our, in here it says, or have receipts. So if
That's
you're-
just for the meals, so.
Well, it should be up for lodging too.
We've never done it
Well,
for lodgings.
we've never done that, but
Yeah.
Well, we should,
But
we
it-
either should do or better.
If you choose to upgrade your room, you
Yeah.
can at your expense.
Yes,
unless
I
it
can
fits the
understand, I
budget.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
Because I heard you guys talk about some pole dancing you were doing or something. Okay, you know, it's either the submit receipts, so, because some of them are getting up there.
Yes. Yeah,
If
we may
we're
have
gonna
to
stay
look,
there out of no choice of our own.
when it comes a point in time that this is out of pocket, we'll have to probably reconsider the allowance.
Well, or we include that, our receipts for the day.
Okay, I'd like a motion first and then we'll discuss it.
I got that. There was one year at the convention that our rooms were more than our allotment. And the administrator paid for all our rooms.
That is allotment?
If I can speak,
Yes, please.
just to clarify, this is a concern, I think, for you guys and for staff, because rooms are becoming more expensive. Like I said, the Weston is running at that 217, we go to the Sutton for 160, but everybody wants to be at the Weston, and I think this is something you should consider, because when you bring back a receipt, that's just gonna cause more problems as we say, okay, 215 minus 250, you know what I mean? It could be some problems,
Let's
so.
bump it to 300 then or something, because there's a lot of advantage to being at the hotel where the conference is taking place. If you want to pigeonhole a deputy minister or talk to some other councilors from some other place, so, yeah, rather than going inflation right on top of this other stuff and $2 ourselves a bit, I just assume we'd be covered here or pay for expenses as occurred. Because sometimes it'll be less than 250. Sometimes it'll be more.
But there are times when the administrator books all the rooms for the conferences.
Which is good.
And there are times when the hotels that run out, and they are higher than, so.
Your rooms are varying, and because Broyce, you know, being up there so much that we book them as we can get them, but yeah, the rates, who knows what they could do.
Yeah, we stayed at a hotel that was cheap, and it was cheap. I mean, it wasn't cheap really, it was $40 less than.
Because this is lodging and meals.
Than the good
Yeah.
one.
Can't
And we
beat some-
were 8 blocks farther away from the convention.
Okay, I haven't received a formal motion on this, so somebody would like to make a formal motion and add clarity to it, we'll deal with it.
I'll make the motion, but I'd like to raise it to $300 per day for meals and lodging.
And the second part is okay as written?
Well, I think meals should be bumped up to 40 for the day. Leave it the same for half a day, because that's just a snack.
Cup of coffee.
Okay, we have a motion that the substance rate be $300 per day for meals and lodging when it is overnight. Meals $40 per day or $15 per half day, or have receipts for meals for the day. Any discussion on the motion? Councillor Jacobs?
Well, I'll start with the meals. I don't see why we need to increase meals because we've already got the option of receipts. So if I spend more than $25 and I can prove it by receipts, you're going to compensate me for whatever the receipt is.
I'll agree, I'll amend it to fit that.
Okay.
Secondly, on hotels, I've been away from this table for 12 years, so you'll have to help me here, but someone said, maybe it was you, Marie, that said the Sutton was 150 or...
Yeah, it varies, but I think it was 166 the last a year ago when we were there.
So we like the Weston because it's closer to the convention itself, or is it a better hotel? I've never stayed at the Sutton, so I don't know. I know the Weston's a nice hotel.
It's a nicer hotel.
Is it closer to
It's
the
closer,
convention?
it's where most of the events, yeah.
Okay, second question to Murray. You said the rates are $219. Does that include taxes?
No, that's just the rate. That doesn't include the parking or the taxes.
So in your opinion, will the $250 cover all the councillors' costs, or will they be out of pocket a few dollars?
I believe they'll be out of pocket a few dollars.
Okay, well, I don't know, I don't know why we're going to 300. If 275 will do it, let's,
I think it's a standard rate for across the board, so we don't have to worry about it. So if you're going to a meeting, we can give you the 300 or the 250 and you book where you want. If we book for the conventions, because this doesn't just relate to the council, but it relates to any of the activities by staff or anybody. So it's more or less just, you know, if you want to stay with family members, that's what you do. If you want to go get the Ritz-Carlton, that's what you do.
or
This
the
is the same
McDonald's,
amount.
we could go to the
If you go to
McDonald's.
McDonald's and you'd be paying an extra $150.
And I think that we should, if we want to go to the best hotel, we should pay
Yeah.
the extra, I agree with that.
So it's just a flat rate that they've talked that is paid and then we don't worry about it anymore.
Okay, did Councillor Bester make a change in his meal?
He did. He's
So
back
what
to,
is the meal?
he's back to 25.
Oh, with receipts, okay, oh,
And that's with the understanding if you get a $40 receipt, is that what?
Yeah.
Okay.
I got it. Okay, well, I don't think councillors should be out of pocket for their hotel bill. So if we go 300, we're probably gonna have a little extra, but in a couple of years, it'll probably be up there, so I'm not gonna quibble about that.
Any more discussion? Did you have a comment? I'll repeat the motion. Councillor Bester moved that the substance rate be $300 per day for meals and lodging when it is overnight. Meals $25 per day or $15 per half day, or have receipts for meals for the day. All approved? Carried. Mileage. Cardston County, past practice, Cardston County pays the government rate of 53 cents per kilometer.
I'll make that motion.
Councillor Luce moves that Cardston County pays the government rate of 53 cents per kilometer. Any discussion?
Clarification, Mr. Chairman, so when councillors come to meetings, they can add their mileage to their expense sheet?
That's correct.
But for the 200, 400 and whatever kilometers it was, that's just for regular practice.
That's
But
correct.
if councillor coming from Dalvanita has an extra, he has 100 miles round trip, whatever it is, he adds that.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, discussion? Those in favor? Carried. Appointment of auditors. Are we in contract to the present auditor for the year 2013-14?
Yes,
And that is BDO?
BDO, yeah.
I'd like to see that contract. If what you're telling me is that this isn't really a motion, if we're bound by contract to a particular
Yeah,
accounting.
we did a review last year and council went ahead with BDO on went ahead with BDO, and I think the agreement was for 3 years.
Yeah, it was either ahead of time limit, 2 or 3 years.
Then we don't need a motion.
Well, just so that you guys know who they are, and I guess it's practice that we've always put BDO out there.
So just because we can't do anything about it,
Can't do
anyways, we
anything
got a
about it,
contract, so that's.
I think it's a waste of time to
Yeah.
address this.
Mr. Chairman, I'm not good with acronyms. Could somebody please tell me the full name of the accountant?
Thank you. There's so many of them.
Pick up your own VMO.
I'm not sure what they go by BDO, that's their name. I don't know if
Oh,
that's.
they use an acronym for a name? Okay.
Yeah.
Dunwoody is the
I
D.
never heard of it.
I know that.
Pardon me, Duncan.
Dunwoody stands for the D. It's an amalgamation of several large international accounting firms it's been around for about 20 years in that form. I don't know what the O and the B stand for, but the D is Dunwoody.
I can't explain the acronym for that type, Councillor.
Sorry. It would really be really nice to have the contract in front of us so we know
Yeah.
how much we're paying these guys.
I think
I'm curious are council happy with the service they've rendered at the cost they charge, or? I mean, there are local auditors that can do the job.
Okay, well, the question comes to my mind then that this contract isn't up for review right now. It's basically for your information. But having said that, you should be privy to the conditions of that contract and what it is. So I would recommend for next council that that information be disclosed. It's not anything, no secretive or anything like that.
So are we deferring this motion then?
You don't need a motion, it's...
Well, I agree, I know.
Depending on how I read the contract.
Just for,
I guess it would be clarity that you understand that they are our current auditor of the day. I think that would be important.
Okay.
And just for council's information, this information was brought to council last term. All the choices there with our recommendation, and that's what they recommended, so.
Well, that's fine. I just would like to see the contract, and
Absolutely.
if you have any correspondence back and forth that predates it, then that would be useful too, for me personally.
So you want a motion to defer this motion?
No, I think we can have a motion to this effect with the statement included that that information be made available.
I can't vote on something that I don't know anything about.
Well,
so
we're not talking about the price.
Well, we're talking about the relationship.
Okay.
And my point is that either we are bound by the contract that I'd like to read, or it is open to us to select an auditor, because it talks about appointing one. So I say that motion should be deferred at best or withdrawn.
I move the motion be withdrawn from the agenda, and that the information about the contract be given to the councillors.
No, do we have, is that contrary to any policy?
No, should be fine.
That's fine. So
Well,
let's have the motion, that's the motion then, is to have it be struck from the agenda.
Yes.
Okay, discussion.
So I'm a little confused here because I think I understood you or Murray to say that we have, the council reviewed it last year and we hired these, gave them a contract for 2 years?
It was a 3-year thing.
Yeah.
3 years.
Yeah.
So whatever we do here today, we still have a legal contract for the next 2 years. So all we're doing is ratifying the contract here.
Not even doing that.
We haven't got,
Whether we look at the contract itself and decide it's too much or whatever, to break the contract, we probably would have some problems to break the contract.
Duncan just wants that information so he can review it.
Yeah, I understand that, but I still don't know, I still have some
From county
sympathy for the
perspective.
Reeve. He needs to get council's approval to ratify the contract or.
well, I'm not asking to ratify the contract. I'm just basically asking that you are aware that they are our
Okay, so
current, that they are our current auditor of the day.
So then
And
the
that
wording
we
needs
are
to be changed.
under contract with them.
So I understand this got put on the agenda and really didn't need to be put on the agenda because it's not an issue for change unless we
Right.
want to do something.
So that's why I asked the question, if there's policy that we have to have that noted or.
I don't think it's policy, like I said. I think the main thing is year after year, we've always let you guys know what it is. This last year was the first year that we actually signed a contract. Before, it was on a yearly basis they were going forward.
Yeah.
And this year, last year, when we put it out to tenders or bids to all the companies, everybody wanted a 3-year deal, and that's what came forward to council at that time.
It does give us the ability to hold the price concurrently for 3 years. There's always pros and cons to the length of contract, but for fiscal responsibility, we felt that was a better choice and decision, and comparing apples to apples, that was a decision of the day. Okay, we have a motion then, strike item 15.1 from the agenda. Any discussion? All in favor? Carried. Assessment Review Board. That the Old Man River Services Commission carries out the duties of the Assessment Board for 2013-2014. It's been past practice that they have supplied that service on an as-need basis.
Mr. Chairman, I'm struggling with what the duties of, what assessment board are we talking about? Are we talking about like a court of revision? Are we talking about setting a mill rate? What's the assessment board? Duties of the assessment board?
It's my understanding it's to deal with the appeal process.
It's the LARC and the CART. It's for the LARC and the CART, so that if someone appeals their assessment.
The lark and the carp,
Yeah.
those are the one's a fish and one's a bird.
Yeah, no, well, they're
Tell
also.
me what they mean.
Well, the one is the business, so the actual residents, if they have an issue with the assessment value on their property, then they can go to appeal it. We've had no one ever appeal one of our assessments. We usually work through it. The other one is more of a business, like oil company. They can appeal their assessments as well. With the new, and I have to remember, 4 or 5 years ago, they came up with these new boards that had to be set where a member of council, 2 members of council sits on it, and one from the provincial government sits on it to review these. Before, we had council members who were taking the training, and they sat on the boards. But with Old Man River, we all went together, and so they actually are the secretary, the controllers. When a complaint comes to ours, they deal with it. They assign different board members to sit on it, and they deal with it. In our sense, we've never had an assessment appeal yet.
Okay, I'm a little confused here. Sorry, I've been confused all day, but anyway, in the old days, we had what we call the quarterly revision. Now I understand, and so on that day, people came in who were concerned about their assessment and made a case to council and to our assessment officer about their concerns with the assessment. Council then dealt with that at the table that day, either accepted their concerns and made adjustments or whatever. Now I understand there was some change in provincial legislation as to how this was done. So my question is, did the change preclude council from carrying out this responsibility as a council?
It precluded council from doing it without the proper training. Council can do it, actually, but it has to be, 2 board members have to be trained, have to take the legal classes. There's a 2-day course that council members would have to take. So what would happen though is the board, someone from the province still has to come, you have to set up the board meeting, the secretary has to do all the work, and then 2 councillors would come plus the member from the province to make those decisions. So instead, what we would try to do is join the other forces so that, the other municipalities, so that instead of...
First of all, I think that was stupid legislation. I thought of that, and I think I now. So my concern here is we're making it more difficult for the people that have a concern about their assessment to talk to the people that strike the millrate, which is us.
But they wouldn't talk to the board, the council itself.
I appreciate that, Marie.
It has to be, if it's these 2 members, they're the ones that go and make have the meeting and do it, and then submit it to the province. It's not the council that makes the decision anymore. If there's an appeal, it has to go through this board, or this group. And you can, if you want, assign 2, 3, 4 members of council to take the training, assign some staff to take the training, and then we can hold our own meetings. But like I said, to be efficient, we thought, Willow Creek and Pincher Creek and Lethbridge, we all got together. And if you could make it one day, then they just assign 2 people.
Mr. Reeve, in light this doesn't happen, everything, we don't have an imminent case right now. I would move that we defer this motion to after we had a chance to review what services we do or do not want and how to assess the Old Man River Services Commission. It's a follow-up because we're already going to ask what do we do with it, what service we want it out of and everything else. So I think that's almost a subject matter in its own self, and this would fall out of that. Because I'm sure personally I suspect there's some services we'll want them to continue with, and there may be some others that not, or at least have a discussion with them, but I think this falls out of that.
Okay. So we have a motion on the table to defer item 16.1. Any discussion?
Yes, thank you. I support that application, or that motion. I did a little bit of looking again on ORSC's site, and they have absolutely no qualifications to be dealing with this tax assessment. We obviously have a county assessor that has decades of experience. This is the realm of an appraiser, somebody that is familiar with values and land and the methodology. And to have ORSC involved in something completely outside their jurisdiction. I look at the regulation and it says planning services. This is taxation. So for that reason, I'm deeply concerned about their ability. And to me, a two-day course is no qualification to be handling an appeal that's come from the citizens of an assessment office. And while I'm talking to, we have the concept of a subdivision and development appeal board with independent people. And if we were going to be serious about setting up a proper board, we should look to the community and have interested people look at taking whatever training and give them sufficient resources so that they can conduct a legitimate, proper appeal. So again, trust and confidence be instilled in the public toward what we're doing. This going through the motions is not satisfactory. So I support that. Let's defer this. Let's look at it more carefully.
I just wanted to clarify, ORSC doesn't do the assessment. They're the secretaries that set up the meeting. It's the elected officials that have been trained that go and make the decision. It's not the staff.
They're the
it's elected
facilitator
officials.
then.
They're the facilitator that controls it.
Okay, Mr. Administrator, I look at the bylaw for our Subdivision and Development Appeal Board, and it's to be an employee of the county that's the secretary. And yet, in the past, people have chosen to involve ORSC. To me, ORSC is a income-generating entity, and I see no reason to bring in that third party to our situation. So I'm deeply concerned about the whole structure of this.
You got
so
some
that's,
questions.
yeah.
Councillor Jacobs?
Well, Mr. Chairman, I certainly am not opposed to deferring for more information, but I think our problem here is provincial legislation. Because they have changed the regulation, rightly or wrongly, they did it. And as a county, we are wards the provincial government. So we have to follow their legislation or get it changed. So I'm not sure what we're going to accomplish here by looking, like, are we going to decide, well, we can afford to send our own people to the seminar and train our own people? I suspect that, having heard at least from 100 different municipalities on this issue, all I ever heard was it was too expensive for Cardston or McGrath or Raymond to send their own people to get the training, and so they decided to pool it and do it collectively. Now, maybe the costs, so yeah, let's defer it, and maybe the costs, when we get the costs, maybe we can then decide better what we want to do, if we have the time to do that. I don't know what our time frame is, Maria. I know.
Well, we won't have anything until
After our next
July, August, after the assessments.
So we do have some time to seek clarity
Okay.
on this. Absolutely.
My only point was that we have provincial legislation is our problem.
Yeah,
That's our problem.
so we need clarity.
Yep.
Okay. Any more discussion? Okay, motion is to defer item 16.1 until we get an opportunity to have some more explanation and understanding as to what our position is on this and what services are provided. Okay, all in favor of the motion? Any opposed? Carried. Okay, our next one, 17.1, South Kearl. We have, just for a little background on this, we have two regional economic development groups in our municipality. We have Southwest and we have South Kearl. The divisor is the number 2 highway.
The 820.
The 820? Okay, 820. 820, if you're not familiar with 820, it's a little further to the east of us here. It comes up Duncan's backyard. So that'd be the easterly-westerly boundary. And we have people that participate and sit on both of these committees. So the first one here deals with South Kearl. South Kearl is...
And that's east of the utility.
That's the east, yeah, and that's in Lethbridge. And I've participated on South Kearl. We've also attended meetings on Southwest. Reeve, Kearl have done that in the past. There's a different flavor between the two, very distinct. I feel that Southwest is more tourism oriented, and maybe Councillor Kearl could speak to this a little more. I feel that South Grow is more economically industrial directed, so there is a different flavor to both, so they complement one another well, is what I'm putting out. So past practice has that we've appointed as a member of South Grove for the 2013-14 year, and also an alternate member. Now in the past, Roger, just to give you a history, Roger has been the member that has represented us, and I previously was an alternate member. So,
Mr. Chairman, when I requested from Mr. Millward on October 28th information regarding what our councillor's obligation is to sit on boards or attend meetings, and I included in that South Grow and Alberta Southwest Committee a number of things, and sought some contractual documents or county bylaws or county resolutions that committed us to those and how much we pay out as having the privilege of participating. That information hasn't come to me. The natural question is to examine the information and see what net benefit do we get in sending councillors or sending anybody to these organizations. It's great to be invited, but they're inviting us for their agenda and to have a bigger group. So.
okay. I hear you and I understand, and we do have an option that's we have a fee that's a membership fee that's based on traditionally by population or level of participation, and there are some things to measure exactly as your concerns, and when that comes up renewable, we as a council sit at the table and make that decision. So I'm suggesting that we go ahead. We're not renewing a contract with them at this time, or a membership obligation at this time. We're just basically putting before you an opportunity to continue to participate, because we are a paid up membership in that organization, and I would recommend that continue until we come to a time which is on an annual basis that we look at the total picture on renewal. So that would address your...
Okay, that deals with a certain aspect. What I also wanted to bring out with a lot of these boards and organizations is a concept of us assigning and delegating to a resident of the county the opportunity to go on behalf of the council and gather the information and make a report to us. I look at the huge amount of time that's being consumed with the anticipation of assigning councillors to go to all of these things, and I think that our responsibility primarily is to look at legislating and handling the affairs and not running all over southern Alberta. So that's what I put out to the group here as we contemplate these things, is why don't we, as you can have committees of council that involve residents, why don't we do some exploring to see if there aren't some interested people that would like to do that? I mean, the per diem for them to attend would be the same thing as for us to attend. It wouldn't be any savings to have them do it. But again, everybody hears their time is precious, and to sit on other mandatory committees and fulfill other mandatory responsibilities, I think is more primary than to go to all these other auxiliary type organizations. So that's my second motivation, is to see us perhaps examine the opportunity to have others involved. Again, bringing more people in to help us with our duties, giving that trust and confidence and participation by the public.
Okay, I'm hearing you. I think that as council, we do have a vested interest in a fair number of the committees that are on here that would be of huge concern to the county, and that we have the responsibility as elected officials to represent our people and to participate in the areas that we feel responsible for, and that is part of our responsibility. I totally I'd entertain the concept of involving others for if there is an interest or a level of interest there. I would share some concerns though. If there are decisions on these committees that affect our fiscal responsibility as far as our budget and that sort of thing, that it's council that makes those decisions, not somebody else. And so we'd have to be careful. And that would be a little bit subjective where we draw the line, and that would be something that would be certainly worthy of discussing when these opportunities come up as far as elective membership and programs and value go. But a lot of the committees that are in here are directly a budgetary responsibility that we have, and I think we need to proceed with that mandate to make assignments there.
Well, that's a whole different ball of wax. I'm looking at South Grove here right now, and I think you explained it's some economic development group. And I sit here and I look at the agricultural base in our county, I look at the lack of any kind of industry or real business here, and I say to myself, what is the net benefit for us to be going to an organization when we have no desire or intent by residents to really expand it? And if I'm in error on that and everybody out there is chomping at the bit to get a new business and can join with others in economic development, okay. But I'm not content to do rubber stamping on all of these little organizations when it involves the expenditure funds and so on. So that's why I asked for information.
Okay.
What is the benefit going to be for us to participate South Grove? We can go through them one by one. McGrath District Recreation Board, it's a different kettle of fish. Emergency Services, different kettle of fish. But some outside agency that wants to draw us in, tell me please.
Okay, so
I think we've got a whole discussion period on that sort of thing that we need to take. And I agree with some of your philosophy there. And I also think we need to step up to the plate in some areas and things. But as I understand here, we do have a seat there now.
We do have a seat there now. It's our choice to fill.
Can withdraw from that at any time, even though fees may be paid up or not. But I think all these areas, I do think we need to sit down and decide where we're going.
And we will have that opportunity.
Region and area. But what right now is we're replacing somebody who was sitting on that position before, just to maintain continuity.
Right.
Well, I think we need to be careful here and not throw the baby out with the bathwater, because South Grove and Southwest both do some pretty good work. Their goal and objective is to stimulate economic development in Southern Alberta. And to me, that's good, because that helps create jobs for my children and my grandchildren and my neighbors and so on and so forth. So I'm all for economic development. And I can tell you that those people and those organizations work pretty hard to try to find business opportunities, investment opportunities. I can also tell you that they have the interest of quite a few businesses and quite a few people that are, if a business wants to locate in Southern Alberta, there's a good chance the first person they'll contact, or first organization they'll contact, is either South Grove or Southwest, depending on location, because they know these people have information and background that might be helpful to their decision. So I think it's helpful for us to have, I'm not opposed to having outside members, but I think we need to be careful that we are represented there, because we don't want to be outside of any discussions that may impact our people through economic development. So I think we need to definitely, sure, let's look at, but it's going to be hard to quantitatively measure benefits, because it's a rather subjective subject, as you pointed out.
The benefits aren't going to come overnight. They might not come this year, next year, or year after, but they will be coming. We're working on alternate energy now and a few other things. We're on the list of communities that these bigger companies are sourcing to find out what we have here for them to come.
The invitation has always been extended. We're kept on the loop. We know what they've been approached with, what businesses are looking in our area for, and we have the opportunity to promote or participate to whatever level that is of our choosing that we feel it will be a benefit to us. So it is an avenue of sourcing that is geared towards economic development.
Anybody here wants to sit on that board?
Before that question's answered, let me respond to if I may, Mr. Chairman, to Councillor Houghton. In 1999, when I was a councillor, I thought economic development was a wonderful thing, and I approached council of the day and sought their permission to begin and participate with a group in Lethbridge. And we hadn't done anything before, to my knowledge, and so they said, sure, go ahead, Duncan. And my view and experience is that Cardston County is not put at the top of the list. And I look at the constraining sort of land use conditions, I'll bring that up at this point, that with the development permit conditions that drive people away. And so I sit here and I say, what is the net benefit? And 15 years is a while to see how many economic projects were brought into our county as a result of our participation in that organization. So I'm asking these questions. That doesn't mean my mind is made up, but I feel a duty and a responsibility to investigate instead of rubber stamp.
Yeah.
And I may be a pain in the neck, but that is where I fundamentally come from.
Appreciate that, and letting you know that you will have that opportunity, and we will seek for that. Motion then?
I will make a motion, but Lloyd,
We participate in quite a few economic developments, not just Southwest, not that. We got Community Futures, Cardston Economic Development. It seems like we have to put our foot in and help everywhere we can just to maintain our population and increase it slightly if we're going to maintain our standard of living and the amenities we enjoy so much in this area. And it's a fight to keep it happening. If we pull back, so it's not that effective, okay, I won't even try. We got to try. We got to get our best people on these committees and see if we can get some participation, see if we can get some improvement in our area.
Councillor Kearl, I look at the people who want to come and build houses here, and I look at the oppression that they have to meet in terms of all these conditions. And so our population isn't growing, it's gone backwards for so many years. So I think we have to examine, before we get into the economic development, our own house in terms of what we need to attract people to come and build and live and to contribute. Because without the workers, without the security for a company that they know they can have a source of employment, employees, then they look elsewhere. So there's a bigger picture that we have to examine.
Councillor Roos.
I was just going to make a motion to have somebody sit on that board until our membership is used up.
Okay.
And then, I mean, in the meantime, we're going to look at the information that we receive and stuff like that and can decide whether we're going to renew it.
Have you got a name?
Roger, do you want to?
I'll stay on.
I think you're on the executive, aren't you, Roger?
Yeah.
Would anyone like to be an alternate?
Sure, I'm glad to be an alternate.
So we have a motion on the floor by Councillor Mike Luce that Roger Houghton be appointed as a member of South Grove for the 2013-2014 year, and that Councillor Kearl be appointed as the alternate member. Any questions? Any discussion?
Do we want to just reword that until our membership is?
Well, I think that's
Is that's
an automatic. That'll when we renew that, that's a council decision, so we'll deal with that when it comes.
Do we need to clarify it?
No, because
I don't think so.
Okay.
once our membership comes up and
No, we won't.
we don't renew it, we're out.
Any more discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Carried. Subdivision and Development Appeal Board, item 18.1. Moved by the Subdivision Development Appeal Board for the 2013-2014 year consists of Mike Shaw, Craig Smith, Norman Wild, and Randy Janisco as the alternate member.
Mr. Chairman, I have an alternate motion that I would like to put forward before that one is addressed in dealing with the Subdivision Development Appeal Board. In my experience with this group, I find it that the members that were appointed didn't have any real background in terms of their knowledge of the land use bylaw or what would be good or bad considerations in assessing an appeal. From my perspective, the better type of members of an appeal board would be former councillors that do understand and have had years of experience in decision making on this. What happens in actuality is you file an appeal and Old Man River somehow becomes the secretary of the board, which violates the bylaws setting up this development appeal board. Then they have an Old Man River representative that counsels the board members, who in essence practices law without a license. And then you have an Old Man River member who sits and counsels on behalf of the county. And what happens is, because this is a very powerful board, the appeal from that board is to the Alberta Court of Appeal. It's matters of law that they have to address. So from my perspective, we need to have people at least with some degree of familiarity, and we need to give them the resources to engage legal counsel and to keep ORSC out of the conflict of interest, because they're the ones that made the recommendation for the decision, and now they're the ones that are counseling the appeal board on what they should be doing. So I took the liberty of asking Shane Hansen and Delton Jensen and Harlan Cahoon if they would be willing to let their names stand to be the members of the Subdivision Development Appeal Board, and they each agreed to do that. So I'm not sure if Craig Smith or Mike Shaw or Norm Wild has been approached specifically. I understand that they were appointed last go because the county council needed somebody. But or if people don't like these three former councillors, well, let's look at some other councillors. And my view of those three is that I think there's some pro and some con and some middle of the road, which is the healthiest thing to have for a proper appeal board. So that's why I talk to those people. So rather than just rubber stamping and say, well, Mike, Craig, and Norm go back for another 3-year term, because that's what happens, it's a 3-year term.
Well, lots of action here. Councillor Jacobs had his hand up before, so we'll go in order here.
Okay, well, Duncan, I have no problems with the names you put forward. They're all good guys. And my problem is this, and I mentioned this earlier. This council's decided to put all the councillors on the board that decides what's going to be approved and what isn't going to be approved, and I'm good with that. My thinking is that, okay, if we have 7 councillors on that board, maybe we should have some normal, common, ordinary people on the appeal board that bring a different perspective than councillors or previous elected councillors. That's why when I was there, we always went to people that weren't affiliated with the council or hadn't been affiliated with the council to serve on the appeal board, because we thought, okay, these guys they live in the community, they know the community, and they're upstanding citizens, and they bring a different perspective. So that's my only problem with what you're suggesting here, is that I'm not sure I like the idea of taking it away from the common ordinary people that haven't been affiliated with or biased by their experience on council.
And let me, Mr. Chairman, if I can respond. That sounds great and wonderful in theory, but in reality, these poor people, these lay people, are swimming in a mass of confusion. Frequently, there are lawyers representing the appellant. There is invariably a lawyer representing the county, and they talk in legal terms. Why? Because it's the Alberta Court of Appeal that they're really speaking to. And when these lay people have no independent legal counsel of their own, they're lost. And so that was my main concern about looking at former counselors. Now, if we feel that we should have the outside people, okay, but we have to give them the resources. We have to give them the resources through legal counsel, because this is a legal body designated under Part 17 with tremendous powers. And to put them in that situation is unfair. And again, our bylaw for the SDAB, Subdivision Development Appeal Board, says the secretary is to be an employee of the county. And we cannot have this ORSC presence on every side of the coin but the landowners. So what I'm in a sense not hung up on having older counselors, but somebody has to have some help. And obviously I was involved in one appeal that there was 700-800 pages of material to be presented and digested in a few hours by these board members without the help of any legal counsel. But all he had was ORSC to help him write their decision. So that is my concern. Not to exclude the people or that, but to say, well, realistically, you know, quite often judges are appointed from the ranks of the legal community. They're made judges because they have a knowledge of the law and what they were doing. So, though that's my logic.
I understand your perspective. I'm not going to say you're promoting lawyership, but anyhow.
My brother's got to eat somehow.
Councillor Bester had a comment.
No, I withdraw that one. Only make the I'll make a comment. I had visions maybe we might be done by 3 o'clock in the afternoon. We're halfway through this agenda, gentlemen, so.
But it's fun.
Yeah, ought to be productive.
Councillor Luce.
I agree with Duncan that we need to give these people some resources, but I do agree with Broyce. My view on this is it should be independent people, not associated with council, so nobody can come back and say, you're agreeing with council because you've been on council or something like that. Sure. And we pick, we get some people that are out in the public that we think are broad-minded and stuff and can make a good decision. And that's...
Traditionally, we always usually make communication with the individuals. Have you done that this time?
I've talked to all of them except for Craig Smith, who's in Israel right now and isn't taking any phone calls.
Question, Mr. Chairman. How long have these gentlemen served on this appeal board?
Three of them, we made a change. We used to have Ron Johnson, Norm Wild replaced him.
Okay.
That was 2 years ago. That change was made.
Norm was an alternate. And Mr. Shaw and Mr. Smith, they've been around for 5-6 years. Yeah. They've been around a long time.
Did you say that they had never handled an appeal?
Oh, no, they have.
Yeah.
Okay, so they did. So did council feel like they handled it fairly and equitably?
Yeah.
This counselor didn't. That's
Yeah, okay. Well, you have a bias.
Yeah.
I have experience. I have experience, and if that gives me...
No argument, Duncan. No argument. You did.
I believe that they would have, with some extra help, I think they probably made a good judgment, but with what they had to work with. And so if we were able to give them some more legal help or whatever, I think they would still be able to make a good, unbiased opinion or decision.
So I think we could proceed with a motion on this with an understanding that there will be a day that we'll have some discussion on policy related to it.
You have to include the concept of legal counsel at the county's expense, independent legal counsel for these people. It is not in the SDAB bylaw, and it must be done. You can't give these people a job without the tools to do it. And so the motion on the agenda doesn't address that in any way, shape, or form.
Do we have appeal pending here?
Access to legal counsel if necessary.
Not for me. I gave up.
There we go.
Well, if we don't have an appeal pending, I think it's merit for that, but it's not in the agenda, let's bring it up.
Does the county committee make that decision?
Did you say that Craig?
Not that I know
You said something about Craig.
Craig's in Israel.
of. Oh, okay, yes.
Craig Smith is he's on a holiday for these 2 weeks.
Yes, we can do it for 2 weeks.
So he wasn't able to contact him.
From what, I know Craig, he's in
Ready for a motion?
I'm sure he's
Okay,
willing, capable.
okay.
Okay,
Are you ready for a motion?
yes.
Okay, I move that we, the 18.1 that's shown here and 18.2 that's shown here.
Okay, deal with them one at a time then?
I think so.
Okay, so Councillor Kearl has made a motion, 18.1, so moved that Subdivision and Development Appeal Board for the 2013-2014 year consists of Mike Shaw, Craig Smith, Norm Wild, and as alternate, Randy Municipal. Any more discussion? Those in favor? Those against? Carried. Councillor Thompson has put forward a motion, I have 18.2, is this
Yes,
correct?
yes,
As written.
you bet.
Authority to be given to the Subdivision and Development Appeal Board to hire legal counsel should they so choose, to assist them with any appeal they are called upon to hear during the 2013-2014 year, with the county bearing the full cost of such legal counsel, unless directed otherwise by the Subdivision and Development Appeal Board. Any discussion? Councillor Bester?
Authority be given, we talking $100,000, $200,000, $300,000, we just give them a blank check here or what?
Yes, and the reason being...
No.
Oh, just, can I explain? Go ahead. Because the appeal board never knows what sort of legal services it needs until the appeal is completed and their decision is written. So to say you've got $1,000 or at some limit is unfair. You can have an appeal that lasts for 20 minutes and is dealt with without legal counsel, but we cannot, just as when the county engages legal counsel to deal with the lawsuit, there isn't a limit that they place on that. And so if you don't give them the ability to hire a counsel, then you're going to get a half-baked job. And the reason that I put it, unless otherwise directed by the Subdivision Development Appeal Board, they have the authority to award costs. And they may make that as part of their decision. But I know that you cannot put a limit or a budget item on something like that. It's a statutorily required body of this county under Part 17. And so, to me, we have to cover those costs.
I think there's too much to digest right now because I'm not in favor of opening the barn door to any group or anything else. Even us as council, we're not going to just throw a legal firm, you write the check, come back and tell us what you got when you got it. We're going to negotiate, or we're going to do something else, or we're going to just figure what we got here. But I don't think we can be responsible and not have some sort of trigger on this thing. And I agree, we can't predict what it is. But at the same point in time, you got a lawyer for one side and a lawyer for the other side, they're going to have a heyday.
I don't understand why you suggest they have a heyday. You got that, what I'm talking about.
Hey, I went through a divorce. I know how lawyers work.
I'm not talking about lawyers for the parties. I'm talking about legal counsel for the Development Appeal Board.
I agree, they should have some avenue to go to, what are our rights, what should we do here, what should we do there? But
And they have the right to have that legal counsel sit with them during the hearing, just as the parties do, and to advise them before and after. Otherwise, you're giving them a responsibility and cutting one of their legs.
I'm not prepared to vote yes on the face value of this right now.
Well, I was
Councillor
just going to suggest, Mr. Chairman, it seems to me the last phrase there, unless directed otherwise by the Subdivision and Development Appeal Board, which is us, certainly that gives us some control over the costs. We can assign costs. we can assign a limit if we want to. Is that not what you're saying there?
No, it's not the council at all.
It's the
It's
board.
the independent board.
It's these three guys we just approved here.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So those guys, they're given a statutory duty, and they have wide-ranging powers. They are lay people that have no experience in exercising those powers. There's a court of appeal that will strike down any decision that's not made in accordance with the law. And hence, they need to have legal counsel to give them some guidance. Otherwise, they are not going to fulfill their mandate in a proper way.
Yeah.
And I can guarantee you from my 33 years of experience, you can never estimate with any degree of accuracy how much a piece of litigation is going to cost or take. And that's why in terms of our council duties to set this board up, we can't give them a budget. We don't know how many appeals there will be. Maybe 0, maybe 50.
Councilor Kearl?
Yeah, I'll just get into that. I was gonna ask you that question. Can we put some type of a budget, and then if it goes over that, then they come back to us for more money? At least we're monitoring what's happening. Just an open checkbook, that's what you want.
And the reason, and let me explain the philosophy. The provincial government pays the judges and covers all their costs. The provincial government, the judges don't go begging to the Crown and say, well, gee, we've took an extra 3 days doing this case more than we expected. If you're going to have an independent body, an appeal body, they have to feel free of any ties or fetters that would prevent them, oh gosh, we better not make the county council too mad, or otherwise then they won't cover our bill and we'll have to pay this loan. That's the subtlety that is there with setting a budget or a limit. Either you're going to give these guys the full capability of properly dealing with their legal matter, or you don't. But it just...
It's my understanding.
Sorry.
As far as administrative viewpoint, there hasn't been an identified problem in the past. The board is protected by their decision from a legal perspective. If a need should require or exist, we have that in our mandate that's available to those and to us as a county for that assistance if necessary. I feel that there are some key words here. I mean, should they so choose, it's strictly optional. I like that. So I guess we need to identify a need here. I don't know if that's a discussion for another day or whether it needs to be dealt with now. You're indicating it needs to be dealt with now. I don't know what level of commitment here. This is kind of just an open invitation as I see at this point in time.
This, what I'm passing out, Mr. Chairman, is bylaw number 433/95, and it creates the Subdivision and Development Appeal Board. And now you have what we as a county are bound by in terms of this auxiliary organization, plus the Part 17 requirements under the Municipal Government Act. So there is the bylaw that sets this up.
Okay.
So now we can make a little more informed decision about how we support or don't support this group and this concept.
Councilor Luce?
The lawyer that would be representing the Subdivision and Development Appeal Board isn't going to be doing fighting back and forth with the lawyer. He's going to be here. Maybe I'm way out to lunch, but this is what I would understand. He's probably going to be here to listen to their appeal, and he's going to give a board his opinion on how his legal stand. It's not like they're going to start a lawsuit between each other and go on for years and add up the bill. Is that...
Generally speaking...
I mean, they shouldn't be, I can't see how they could be allowed to. They're going to give the board their opinion, their legal opinion, and that's where it should stop. And somehow we just need to word that in there. I don't think we should can give them an open checkbook, but the legal opinion of what they heard at the appeal should be where it stops.
Well, they're mandated to write a decision, giving reasons for that decision. And that's where the real assistance of legal counsel comes in covering the law associated with their
For their
decisions.
legal decision.
So you're correct that the lawyer for the Development Appeal Board is not going to be presenting briefs, not going to be arguing facts and evidence. He is there to assist the board. So there is a limited perspective, but you can't say we're only going to give you so many dollars, because again, if there's 700 pages of stuff that lawyer has to review to properly advise them as to whether it's relevant or irrelevant. Town of McGrath does it. If they have a development appeal, they have engaged outside counsel to represent the decision maker. They have their own solicitor that presents their side of the case, and the landowner presents his side of the case. So it's something that isn't abnormal. It's something that should be there. And sure, I'm sensitive to legal costs, but are we worried about doing the right thing? Or are we worried about...
Councillor.
Mr. Chairman, reading over this very quickly, or speed read once in a while here.
Good.
It does point in point 8 that the council will appoint a secretary who should be an employee of the municipality to do all this work. And listen, 16, all the things a person doing all the writing, doing an opinion, and then maybe at that stage, if you need to send it to a legal counsel, have an attorney there to approve what's being done. But we shouldn't have to have much legal work done. The secretary should be able to do it as an employee according to how this is written.
And this is why I bring the motion forward, because it's grossly lacking to allow the board to have any budget or have any authority to engage outside counsel.
It just says a secretary provided as an employee of the...
And the reality, Councillor Kearl, is that that's not happening. ORSC provides the secretary. ORSC takes all of the documents.
Right.
They are the ones that then have what's a pseudo-legal counsel advising the board and helping them with their decisions.
Well, I feel like we're kind of bantering a little bit here on regards to policy, and I think that policy is something that we'll have to look at and review. And we have a motion. Any more discussion before we vote on the motion?
What is the motion? Is this right?
Well, I'll review that. Okay, the motion is Councillor Thompson has got a motion forward here that authority be given to the Subdivision and Development Appeal Board to hire a legal counsel, should they so choose, to assist them with any appeal they are called upon to hear during the 2013-2014 year, with the county bearing the full cost of such legal counsel unless directed otherwise by the Subdivision and Development Appeal Board.
Okay, I didn't think we'd get this point this soon, but I'd like to have that vote recorded.
Okay, recorded. That's fine. Any more discussion? Okay, recorded vote. Those in favor? Those opposed? Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I'll move lunch.
Okay.
Here.
You want a picture of council? Needs to
Take it in for the last time.
Or you got enough pictures?
No, I'd like to get a group shot, probably.
Okay, do you want us, before we got our food in our belly or after? Let's have it right now. You'll have to smile a little harder.
Where's she want us?
Didn't think we're supposed to come dressed up to the next Thursday or something.
So I think probably if we have 3 chairs and then 4 men behind and 3 chairs out front.
The skinny guys in chairs.
Give them the Reeve chairs. Probably kind of in the center of the map there.
You want smaller chairs, or are we okay with it?
I guess you're, oh, I don't know. There is smaller chairs.
We'll cover you up a little.
That's all right.
It's out of the way.
3 sitting, 3
Keep
standing?
pointing that.
I think I'll...
I'll sit. Oh, I'm too high. My chair's too high now.
And congratulations to you all. Appreciate you doing this for us. We're trying to get a group shot of the town council, yourselves, Glenwood, Hill Spring, and Waterton. And we'll give a shot on 3. 1, 2, 3. We'll do a few shots here and do a couple different settings. I find I have to take about 10 pictures before I get one good one. 1, 2, 3. One, two, and 3. And I'll just hit a different setting here and make sure that we're give us some good options. One, 2, and 3. One, 2, and 3. One, 2, and 3. Are you hungry enough now? Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Yeah, I got mine.